Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another exciting episode of Red Dot Forum Camera Talk. We are your two favorite Leica nerds. I'm David Farkas. I'm joined, as always, by Josh Lehrer.
Evening, everybody.
Over there in the small box, we've got Jose Rivera producing the show.
Hello, hello.
And looks like we got a couple of our team members here in the chat, so go ahead and say hello. See that we've got a bunch of people already joining us, so welcome back. We had our last episode was on the
SL3S. Yes, last month, yeah.
So, which is not this. It looks like this.
It's not it.
It's close to this. So we are pivoting back from the SL system back into the wide world of Leica M. And the last time, well, I should say, what we're doing tonight.
Yes.
We are doing a Leica M, where are we now? Here we are in 2025, and we want to kind of catch up because the last time that we did this was over a year ago, back in 2023, the latter part of 2023.
Yeah, it was December 2nd or 3rd. I looked at the date.
Yeah, and you can still check out that video. If you
but not right now.
You can check out that video later.
Exactly.
Unless you can like watch two things at once and listen. So we caught up a lot of the new introductions and firmware updates and things at that time. But of course, there's been new and exciting things since then, right, Josh?
Yes, the last year and 2 months, whatever, has been pretty exciting for the world of M. So tonight we're going to talk about all the products, the software updates, firmware updates, news, everything that we think you need to know since we last covered Where Are We Now for the M System in December of 2023.
Because that's where we were.
Yes.
This is where we are.
And of course, we'll take questions and everything else like we always do. So definitely, if you're new here, throw your question in the chat, and we will do our best to get to it. We try to take breaks when we can to do questions. So
Exactly.
I think we should jump right in. But first, before that, I didn't even realize our milestone,
Do we have a milestone?
our subscriber milestone.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
Congratulations to us, and thanks to you guys.
Pat you on the back. There you go.
So we crossed the old 30,000 subscriber mark a couple weeks ago. So yay. Thank you to you guys for subscribing, and keep following us and watching our content because that's why we keep doing this. If you don't watch, we won't do this.
That's right.
So, and if you're not subscribed already,
Shame on you,
please do so.
but it's not too late to redeem yourself.
Not too late.
Click
that little
button. Just click it.
little subscribe
Yes.
button and make sure to check the notification bell so you know when we do things like this and go live. And also, we're posting more instructional content. I should highlight that as well.
Yes.
Our colleague Colin, who is one of my co-leaders on a lot of the photo workshops, he works pretty much full-time in our workshop program. And Colin has been ramping up doing more instructional videos to share his knowledge. And the last one he did was on the Leica SL system using the very cool depth of field readout to control depth of field for your photos. So that is on the channel. You want to check that out if you haven't seen it. And he's got some cool stuff coming up as well.
Yes.
And yeah,
Well, I can
let's
see
get into
that. I had a bet with one of my friends how quickly the chat would spiral out of control, and already
I see it.
5 minutes
Yep.
in. If you've watched the show before, you know this. If you've not watched the show before, allow me to explain. While we love Leica and we are super excited to see what Leica does next, not only do we generally not know what they're going to do next, we can't talk about it, we can't speculate, we can't theorize. We are focused on the here and now because we are very spoiled with the current and previous catalog of Leica products. So there's tons of places on the web where you can make speculations about what's coming next and look at leaked images and all this crazy stuff, which is fine. I love the enthusiasm. I genuinely do. And that's not, I mean, I'm serious because if people don't get excited about what's next, then of
course.
Leica has no reason to make anything else.
Right.
So just keep that in mind, is that we're not going to be able to take questions about rumors, speculation, future models, future firmware, future features, anything like that.
But I heard you had some
Yeah.
kind of like special
Yes.
one-off camera.
If you want to see me spill beer on the table and also watch an episode where we do actually break all those rules, last December, no, 2 Decembers ago,
It was a while ago, yeah.
we did a wish list episode
Yeah.
where we broke all the rules and just went out and talkdon't about all the things that we would like to do if we were in charge of running Leica. So maybe we'll make it.
Wait, did any of those come true?
I don't even remember. No. I don't remember. Maybe.
Wait, Jose, do you know if any came true?
I don't. I'll have to watch that show again and see.
That would be fascinating to know, like, if because we talked about a lot of things,
Yeah.
a lot of wish list items.
Yeah.
I feel like maybe one or two.
I don't think we're that clairvoyant, but maybe.
I don't know.
But anyway, just to sort of set the stage, we're here. You can ask anything you want. I'm just not promising you that we're going to answer it if it's about something like that. So we love the enthusiasm.
I did hear you're going to show off like a one-off special.
That's a secret for later. We should also mention, as I continue to talk, sorry, we're going to do something different that we've never done before. Is we're going to launch a new limited edition Red Dot Wear product. Red Dot Wear is Leica Store Miami's in-house accessories and swag brand. That's us, everyone. So we will be launching a new Red Dot Wear limited edition item in the middle of the show at probably about 9 o'clock Eastern. It's not on the website yet. No one knows about it yet. So
this is what they call a live drop.
Yes. So we're giving the viewers of the show the first chance to purchase this item if they wish. It is extremely cool. So stay tuned for that later. I've also got a really, really special product that I'll be a one-off or pre-owned item that I'll be introducing in the middle of the show as well.
Yes, Josh always likes to kind of hold back these really cool things, and it just so happened it almost didn't get here in time. And he was like, "Oh, I hope I want it. Yeah. So he's super excited to show you guys that because it is a really cool set.
Yeah.
And I don't even know if I've seen one like in the metal before, so this will be exciting.
Yeah. This is going to be fun. We have a lot of really cool things to talk about. But in order to get to those things, we have to cover
all the other things.
All the things that are on this piece of paper here. So, David.
That is very small type.
Yes, I know, right? Well, why don't you talk about the first big launch that has happened since we did our last Where Are We Now?
But I don't have it.
We don't have it here because they're hard to get and I could not get one in time. But we thankfully have a whole episode on it. So
we do.
Not all is lost. My apologies.
It is. Right. So we're going to talk about the M11-D. And maybe I could just pull up a picture of it. So,
I just noticed this is crooked.
Oh,
I'm so embarrassed. Okay. Here we go.
That's it. We're done. The show's over.
That's right. We quit. We're done.
All right. So let me just bring this up real quick so you guys can see it. Okay. So
yes,
the M11-D. Okay. Jose?
You should show the back. That's the exciting part.
Well, I'm just showing the front.
Okay.
So this is the M11-D, which was launched on?
Just September 12th, 2024.
September 12th. And this is, So that obviously is the unique aspect. This looks very much like an analog film camera, but it is very much a digital camera. It is an M11 through and through. Actually, it's closer to an M11P, but with no rear display. Instead, it has a dedicated ISO dial, as you can see there. It also, like the M11P, has the internal encryption chip for the Leica content credentials, which is the hardware encryption to comply with the Adobe Content Authentication Initiative, which basically digitally signs your images to make sure that they are authentic and not created by some random AI. And that is something that Leica has been rolling out first on the M11P, then on the M11D, and now recently we saw it on the SL3S. Yes. So we now have 3 cameras, and Leica was the first to market. You can come back. First to market with the with actual products for sale adhering to the Content Authentication Initiative.
Yeah.
So this is another case where Leica's taking the lead on that. The first time that we saw that was actually with Adobe and adopting the DNG, or digital negative format, which Leica was the first. They still do DNG across all their cameras. And now we've actually seen other brands adopt DNG as well. So hopefully we'll see that more cameras using CAI besides just Leica's.
And the M11-D, we did a whole episode on that. We actually covered the sort of history of the screenless digital M, so you can watch that later. But there was one thing that everyone watching that M11-D show was requesting.
Requesting or complaining about?
Both.
Demanding, yeah.
So now that was September, and now that came out somewhat recently. So we're only talking about a couple of months. What was that feature, David?
So Leica listened to that user feedback. I should say the user feedback was, hey, I realized I can't format the card in the camera. And how can I do that? So Leica created a firmware update for the M11-D that allows you to format the memory card using the Leica Photos app. So when
it was a conjunction of app update and firmware update.
It's both. So you have to have the latest version of Photos, which is always recommended, by the way, because Leica updates the Photos app very frequently, much more so than the firmware updates. So make sure to stay on top of updates for the app and know that every time you update the app and or the firmware in the cameras, you do need to repair them generally.
Yeah.
It's just good, like a photos hygiene.
Yeah,
let's say.
I mean, we still need to do a Photos app episode, but the app has gotten so good,
It has.
so fast with the newest models. It's really kind of mind-blowing. So I promise you that one day we'll think about contemplating, possibly doing a Photos app episode.
Correct.
That's the best thing to do.
And just to kind of, well, let's keep going with the cameras.
Yeah.
So Josh, I'm going to throw it to you. Leica also came out with another member of the M11 family.
Correct. So we saw in the M10 generation, the sort of finale of the M10R was the M10R black paint.
Yes.
And black paint is Leica's, I would say, most illustrious finish. It's been around since the early days, and it provides a level of sort of jewel-like essence to the cameras.
I think we should clarify this as well.
Yes.
Because black paint is a little confusing
Yes.
because a lot of cameras say black paint,
Yeah.
like M11
So
black paint.
black paint, in the terms of Leica, is not created equal. And when I say black paint, I refer to that really the black paint that you think about initially, which is the glossy black paint. And Leica is actually now calling their newer models with black paint glossy black paint to sort of differentiate it from the more matte black paint, because black paint could be, like David said, the M11, M11-P, the new M6, they're all technically painted in the color black, but they're not what I would call black paint, which is that luster, glossy black paint like we see on the modern MP, like we saw on the M10R black paint. So
I almost like to refer to it as a black lacquer.
even though it's not actually lacquer.
But it's not.
I actually call it, I think you called me out of that recently, and I agree with you.
Yeah.
Traditionally, black paint was over brass. Over the last 10 years, we've seen more models come out that are black paint over aluminum, which is fine with me because aluminum is lighter and it still looks great. So in November of last year, Leica introduced two black paint items at the same time, which is awesome. That was the black paint M11 and a black paint version of the Noctilux 1.2 Classic Series reissue. Now, neither of these products are limited edition. I think production will be limited just by virtue of the fact that it's not going to be as popular, and it's also coming, mid-cycle M11 versus like when it first came out. So it is based on an M11, not an M11P, and you can see it does have the sort of M11P styling where there's no red dot on the front. Let me take the lens off for a moment here. So this is the black paint, glossy black paint M11. You can see it's got that beautiful shine. Absolutely gorgeous. It has the silver shutter speeds, shutter button surround, and the knurling on these switches here, much like the MP has. And it's got the lovely black paint on the back. Now, a question I've been getting recently is, of course, the camera comes with a black paint battery, which is what happens when you have a battery that has part of the camera's outside attached to it. And I've had a few questions recently is, can you buy the glossy black battery separately? The answer is no. All you can buy now is the regular black battery. Now, it doesn't look bad when it's in the camera. I'll actually show you. And of course, because it's on the bottom, it's not, it's pretty nominal, especially since the bottom has a bunch of other stuff on it. So I wouldn't hold your breath to eventually get a glossy black paint battery. I've heard rumblings that maybe one day Leica will make it available. If enough people ask for it, they probably will. But I would say, it's not really that big of a deal. I actually have a silver battery and a black M11 all the time, and I never even noticed. So whatever. Anyway, so that was the camera. And then we have the gorgeous black paint Noctilux 1.2 reissue. Again, this is aluminum. It's not brass. So it keeps the same weight as the black anodized version. It has the lovely knurling. It has the ridges here. And of course, it just looks gorgeous. It comes with this beautiful, just put this down for gently. I have it in plastic to protect it. This beautiful black paint hood, also in aluminum, that just matches the lens so well. This is gorgeous. I think this looks good on any color camera, but really it's most at home on the glossy M11. Here we go, put them together for you to see. Look at that. And of course it comes with this super cool lens cap, which I would never use because, wow, I can't imagine trying to replace this thing if you lost it. But nonetheless, I think the glossy black M11 is absolutely beautiful. And, they were a little hard to get at first, but fortunately we finally...
You can talk about the packaging as well.
Oh, well, it's the same packaging as the one too.
Yeah,
but... Yeah, we'll get there.
Okay.
Anyway, they were hard to get at first, but fortunately, the M11s in glossy are finally in stock, which is very nice because black paint is beautiful. And if you have any black paint cameras, you know that already. If you don't, I think this could be a great one for your first. So we saw that in November of 2024. And again, the camera is brass painted black. The lens is aluminum painted black. The lens comes with, as David has up now,
Yeah, you can
the
kick over
more like unique vintagey style packaging. Jose, can we pull that up? Thank you. David can show us. Look at that. Where am I?
There it is. Yep.
Go to me. There I am. Hey. So yeah, it's got that super cool. It doesn't have the same super retro style packaging as the 1.2 Noctilux in silver, but that makes sense because that was actually limited to 100, and this one is not a limited edition. So absolutely gorgeous. The lenses have been harder to get, which makes sense. They don't make as many lenses as they make cameras in that specific model range, but we're getting them just very slowly. So yeah, super, super beautiful.
Yep. Just a point of note as well. So everything we're talking about, kick over here. Just so you can see, if you do go to our website, red.forum.com, we do have articles on all of these with lots of details that you can read for yourself.
Yeah, this is probably the best place to go to learn about new releases. I mean, we send out our Leica Summilux-M newsletter, which is a kind of more abbreviated version, but David works really hard when a product comes out, not just to, post a press release, but he actually will dive into some of the history, some of the context, his own thoughts, based on his deep well of experience with the full product line. So I always refer to David's articles because there's a lot of good insight there.
And we do comparison tables.
Exactly. Yeah. And it's nice because, especially if the model's maybe a year or two old and you're thinking about it, for me, even too, getting a nice refresh, reading David's article, and then he always will post the press release at the bottom. So you can see Leica's official text, and then you can read David's thoughts. And
exactly.
So I think, what David's doing on red.forum is a really good resource. If you want to really understand the key new features, a little more editorialization about where it fits in the lineup, and of course, how it's going to compare to the past model.
Exactly.
Now, we saw another release since our last episode, which actually happened last week. It's so new that unfortunately I don't have it to show you.
I think it's still this week.
This week.
It happened earlier. It was only
we were supposed to get them yesterday. Unfortunately, our UPS delivery got delayed, so they're not coming till Monday, which means I don't have one to show you, but I will do an episode where we dive into it. So that,
I'll bring it up on the screen.
Yes, is the 5th member of the classic line, the Leica Summilux-M 50mm f1.4 in silver chrome. Now, we have an episode on the 50 Summilux line of M lenses, so if you get time to watch that later, you should. I worked really hard on it. And what this is one of Leica's classic series lenses with a twist. Leica will occasionally look back into some of their more legendary lenses from the back catalog and then bring them back with a modern barrel design, maintaining sort of a faithful tribute to the original optical design, but of course, modern glass and modern coatings. We saw that with the 90th Ambar, the 28th Summilux, 35 Summilux steel rim, and the Noctilux 1.2 reissue, which I just showed you in black paint. This is the newest one. So what we're looking at here is something that I think is very interesting because, in short, the 50 Summilux, before it became ASPH, we now call it the pre-ASPH. So before ASPH, the 50 Summilux came in 3 distinct versions, 2 distinct optical designs. Version 1, and then version 2 and 3, which shared the same optics, had some tweaks on the version 3. What's cool about this lens is it brings together what I think is the best of each of those versions. So you've got the beautiful knurled brass barrel design from the version 1. Granted, we saw a little bit of that with the version 2, but mostly with the version 1. You've got the optical formula from the version 2, which was vastly superior to the version 1. And you've got the 0.7 meter close focus and E46 filter thread size from the version 3. Because the version 3 is the most usable, in my opinion, because it has those two features. And one thing they kept from the version 1 and 2 is the removable metal lens shade. Now, I have been told, I haven't tested this yet, that unlike the 50 Summilux Black Chrome, which does not accept regular filters when you have the hood attached, you can use filters E46 size in conjunction with this hood. Now, we'll do an episode on the classic lenses soon, and I will test this, of course, but I have it on good authority. I'm sure there's someone in the chat who owns this lens already and who can confirm that. But we'll dive into this more, but this is definitely one of the more interesting releases because from what I can tell,
it looks pretty nice.
It does look beautiful. And Leica reformulated some parts of this lens to be more friendly with digital sensors. So I'll be very, very curious to see how this compares to the original version 2 that it's based on, and also to the 1.2 Noctilux and a few other lenses. So I think it's really exciting. It's a pretty heavy brass barrel at 400 grams or so. Not quite as heavy as the previous 50 Luxospheric in silver chrome, which is the heaviest of all the 50 Summilux, but it's got a good heft to it, and I'm really excited to get it out. What do you think?
Yeah, for sure. Jose, you can come back to us.
Yep.
Yeah, so I mean, basically what Josh said. This is, and if actually, it's funny if you watch the 50 Summilux episode, you kind of talk about the favorite items from each of these generations, and maybe Leica was listening because that is what we got with this reissue. It is the best of the vintage era because it has everyone's favorite styling, and yet it has the better optics and it has the close focus distance. So it performs like a modern lens in that way.
Well, you got to be careful saying that.
It's not a modern lens.
Right. I think that's really important. There's always a little bit of confusion when Leica comes out with the Classic Series lens. You want to kind of explain a little bit?
So this is the 5th in the Leica Classic line.
Yeah.
And we actually talked about doing maybe
we will
a more focused episode on the classics now that there is, and has been 5 of them.
Yeah.
When there was just one. I think the first one was the 20 Summeret.
The Summeret was first,
And then the Thambar.
Thambar.
Okay.
Yep.
So, and there seems to be a little bit of confusion each time Leica does this because people, especially with the 51.2 Noctilux, as you mentioned, I was like, wow, a 51.2, that's like going to be better than the 50
it's
Summilux.
small and light. Yeah.
Like, hold on, guys. This is not a new Noctilux, right? The same way this is not a new 50 Summilux. This doesn't replace the 50 Summilux aspheric, especially not the version 2 that I think we have over there.
Yeah.
Okay. With the even closer focusing range, with this rangefinder decoupled, that lens is, a monster. It's great. This is a different lens. It's a different look in terms of the barrel design. And while we have had some kind of retro throwback things, and you can actually show that.
Yeah, we can get a close-up of this here. This is the, get a top-down view of the 50 Summilux Black Chrome, which came out, 2015, something like that, which is based on the previous ASPH design. It's a similar vibe to this, except it's a different barrel design because it's a different filter thread. And of course, this lens retained the modern optics from the regular 51.4 spheric, whereas this new reissue contains new old optics based on the version 2 from originally 1962 is when that lens was designed.
And then the version 3 took that refined optical design, went from a 1 meter minimum focus distance to 0.7, which we recognize as being modern in terms of performance.
Right.
That's something they didn't do with the 35 steel rim. The 35 steel rim, they kept
that's just because there was never a pre-aspheric 35 Summilux that went to 0.7 meters. So it was clever of Leica to sort of cherry pick the best of all the three things. So I'm really excited about that. I'm down to get this lens out. 50 Summilux pre-aspheric is one of my favorite lenses. I love all 3 versions. I just think they render gorgeous. It's kind of like a baby Noctilux almost. Not quite as swirly in the background, but it's actually a little bit sharper in the center. So because of that, you tend to get actually a more pronounced bokeh because the difference between the sharp area and the soft area is greater if you were to like draw that on a graph. So I'm really, really excited to get this lens in my hands compared against some of the older sort of original versions.
And then the other factor that they mentioned in terms of optimizing for digital, so with new types of special glass and coatings, what they aim to do, and this is going to bear itself out in our testing, is that wide open, it still has that same kind of luscious bokeh glow that the original had, but when stopped down, it offers more sharpness and higher contrast than the original did. And and also we were talking about this the other day. The other thing about factoring in of this classic line and why it is a good thing, some of the elements they're not going to be able to reproduce or get.
Right.
I mean, in obvious cases, like the version 150 Summilux had lanthanum glass, which is radioactive. They can't even get that because it's illegal. So in some cases, they've had to reformulate and try to replicate that look with different glass. In this case, they're purposely trying to optimize performance for modern sensors while retaining that wide open look. So I think that's kind of a smart move. But moreover, because the question is, well, why can't I just go out and buy a version 2 or version 3 Summilux? And the reason we were talking about this, one, they're becoming increasingly difficult to find. And even more difficult to find with pristine optics. With the softer coatings of the past, they're very subject to cleaning marks or scuffs or scratches. They can get de-cemented elements inside. They can get haze. They
Don't
can
scare
get
the people now. Come on.
I'm just saying, these are things to be careful of.
It's one thing to be able to buy a brand new lens that's in brand new condition with a factory warranty that's going to have every single thing box, packaging, paperwork, case caps, hood, the whole 9 yards.
And perfectly clean optics.
Where you don't have to think about it. Doesn't matter where you get it from. Doesn't matter, whatever you buy, you're buying a new lens. Whereas you go pre-owned, you go vintage, suddenly you really have to have an eye for what you're looking for, especially if you're buying online.
Or hint, guys, pro tip,
Yeah.
or someone that has a really good eye.
Well, if you've ever dealt with me trying to either sell or buy a vintage lens from me, you know I am ludicrously picky about the condition of what we get and ensuring that it's fully serviced. And I'm very meticulous about that. So, it's a very different game, not in a bad way, but very different to go chase down something vintage. And I think there's a lot of people out there who would enjoy the vintage or near vintage look, but not necessarily be practical for them to go and try to chase down a vintage one. And I get that. And I'm actually kind of in both camps. As someone who chases down vintage lenses all the time, I really sort of understanding of the fact that it's nice to just be able to buy something off the shelf that works really well.
And from a practicality standpoint, putting all that aside, let's say you could find a perfect one, but you love the styling of the version 1/2, that fluted design with the knurled focusing, and you love the clip-on shade, but you also really like 0.7 meter minimum focus distance.
Right.
And you really like to use standard E46 filters, especially let's say either you're shooting on film or you're shooting monochrome and you want to use color filters. You can't actually get that.
Yeah.
So,
and the version 3s are extremely rare, especially in really good shape, and especially in silver chrome. Right. So, yeah. Before we get to the next topic, the firmware topic, we should see if there's any questions related to what we were talking about. I'm sure there are about 87,000 of them.
I've been ignoring because
yes, I know. We're in the zone now. But I'll let Jose guide us with his wisdom.
All right. Does anyone know how to change or disable the exposure dial on the M11-D?
If I had one here, I could figure it out. But
I'll bring up the picture again. There. Okay. So what are we looking for?
Well, I think I'm talking about using exposure compensation on the back dial. We don't have an M11-D in our demo pool, so I have very limited actual hands-on experience with one, which makes me sad.
No, you can't use exposure compensation on the ISO dial.
Right, it's on the thumb dial.
The thumb dial, by default, it is
I'll have to check in the app. I'll get back to you on that.
It's default, but exposure compensation.
I'll get back to you on that, though.
By default.
Next question.
But you might have to click and then turn, or...
I got to test it out.
We'll get it.
I should know that, and so I'm embarrassed. But
you should know that.
That's okay. It's okay to know 99 out of 100 things. That's the one. Next question.
All right. So a couple of people have mentioned this. Looking to get the M11-D, but really hard to justify to get the M11P and just not look at the screen.
Yeah.
Is there like a good...
Well, let's be real. The M11P is far better for most people. I have no problem saying that. The MD262, M10D, and the M11D have always been niche of a niche cameras, right? So there is a lot of fun and sort of romanticism in using a camera like the M11D, but I would only get one if I had another M that had a screen. It doesn't have to be an M11P. It could be, an MP240 or whatever. But as your only camera, it would be tough. Now, it does get made a lot easier while using the VisoFlex 2 because you can see live view, you can see playback. You still can't change your settings. You have to do that on the iPhone or Android with the app. But the reality is the M11P is better for most people looking to get into their M system camera, unless they already have one and they're looking to expand, or maybe you have an M10P or something like that.
By the way, it was written about that picture.
Oh.
In normal shooting operation, the thumb wheel gives quick access.
Then what about how to disable it?
Oh, disable it?
Yes. Did you not get the question?
I completely blanked.
Right.
I'm sorry.
That's all right. I'm not sure. I have to check the app. I should know that, but I will find out because now I'm not going to go to sleep until I get the answer.
Okay.
What else we got, Jose?
It did seem kind of obvious. I was like,
earlier there was a question about the screen on the M11 glossy black paint.
Okay.
If it's like the...
No, it's not Sapphire. M11 glossy black is based on the M11. The only difference is the finish and the fact that it has no red dot, but it has the same glass, the same memory, no CAI, unlike the M11P, which has
memory. In other words, 64 gigabytes, not 256.
Yeah. What else?
Okay. Somebody said, I already have the 50 lux version 2, 50 lux is spherical, and a few 50 Summicrons, including the apples. Can you think of a good excuse for me to pick up the new 50 lux classic?
I mean, there's always a good excuse.
Yeah. I mean, clearly I don't have a problem spending money on 50, so what's another $4,000? I mean, the reality is, it depends on how often you shoot wide open. That's the number one thing. Because if you get a 50 lux pre-aspheric, classic series, whatever, and you're shooting at f4, just use a 50 lux aspheric. It's not, I haven't tested them side by side, but practically, from using older lenses, it's not that big a deal. But if you spend a lot of time shooting wide open, you'll have a lot of fun. Keep in mind that you can't use the older or classic series lenses as often if you want to avoid relying on the crazy rendering too much and sort of leaning on it, which can happen. Now, photography, there's no rules. You do whatever you want. If you're happy with the images, that's all I care about. But I think if you've got a bunch of modern 50s, I could definitely advocate for a 50 lux. In fact, I'd have a harder time selling someone a 50 lux Preaspheric who just has a 50 lux Aspheric. I'd say, well, maybe get a 50 Apo, maybe get a Noctilux, maybe get a Sumer for something small. But if you've got those already, then it's a natural progression to get the classic one, I think. In my totally unbiased opinion as just a regular guy.
That and your obsession with all this stuff. So
Yeah,
otherwise,
yeah, you know what.
Okay.
That's a great question. What else you got?
Okay. Let's see. How do you update the Leica Photos app? I'm guessing
You
on the M11.
update it the same way that you update any iPhone app, which is you go into your apps in your thing in the settings, general settings, somewhere, whatever. And then
You can go to the App Store, I think you can do it. I think you can have iPhone automatically update your apps, or you have to do it manually. But if you just go to the App Store and find the Photos app, if you already have it, it'll tell you whether or not you're up to date. So that's the easiest way to do it, I think. Next question.
How do you
like I should know this,
format?
but-
Okay, we're good.
How do you format the M11-D camera and or SD card if you don't have phone or computer with you?
If you're buying a digital camera, you probably should buy also a phone or a computer. Sorry.
Maybe I'm going to give the benefit of the doubt and say you don't have one with you.
Yeah, I know. I'm waiting for you to jump in. You just took too long.
Yeah, but borrow someone's phone, have a loved one, with a dedicated.
Yeah, I mean, you
Photos phone.
could go out in the field with a couple of cards already formatted. That's what I usually do. Like I'll format them ahead of time. But yeah, you do need an iPhone or a computer to format the card because you cannot do it in the camera body.
No.
That's just how it is.
Cool. Somebody asked about lead in the optical formula.
Lead?
Yeah,
No.
compared to the original one.
No,
I don't think they can use lead.
right. So
Leaded
right,
glass.
Right. They don't use leaded glass. They don't use radioactive glass. These are
I mean, I don't recommend eating even a modern lens. if you're
don't lick.
Right.
But you do lick lenses.
I
Sometimes.
mean, look, what I do in the privacy of my own home, okay, as long as your business.
In all seriousness, though, Leica has access in their lens lineup to something like 300 to 400 glass types that are accessible to them through their glass suppliers. They use 3 different glass suppliers, and they get catalogs of what's available. And then based on their designs, they pick and choose and plug that into their modeling program so they can see how those glass types will work with the actual glass shapes.
Yeah.
And they make the lenses from there. They don't. In the old days, back in when they were in the old building and they were lights, camera, and all this stuff, they actually did have a glassworks and chemical engineers and all this where they would formulate different types of optical glass back in the day. But remember, optics weren't really a big thing when Leica started out, so they had to pave their own way. And now it just doesn't make sense for them to make all of their own glass and do all that research when optical glass is so widely available elsewhere.
Okay, we got much more. Let's do like a couple more questions and we got to move on because we're going to get bogged down with this.
Okay, so there's a lot of questions that just coming in. Okay, will the new 50 Summilux reissue allow filters to the lens hood on?
I already answered that.
Yeah, we talked about that.
Don't rewind yet, but later rewind. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Availability for the new lens for the new 50
I mean,
Summilux?
like any new release, it's
It's-
going to be hard to get
yeah.
for a little while. So we haven't even gotten our first one yet.
But and this may not be a question that's been asked yet, but I just want to kind of get ahead of this,
Okay.
which is it's not a special release. It's not a limited edition. This is regular production, but because it is a new lens that they are essentially coming out with, this has not been in the catalog for a
Right.
very, very long time.
Right.
It does take time to ramp up production.
Yeah, I mean, look at
Just
the steel
normal.
rim reissue. That came out, people went crazy, and now they're generally in stock. I mean,
Exactly.
it comes and goes with us, but it will calm down eventually.
Same with the 1.2 Noctilux,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So just give it a little time, and Leica will catch up.
Yeah, let's do a couple more questions.
Okay. Is there a reversible hood that works with the current 90mm f4 micro?
No, because the problem is you'd have to have a hood that works with the lens both extended and collapsed that could reverse. And if it was small enough to work with the lens collapsed, it wouldn't be big enough to actually protect against flare practically. So you could use the hood that it comes with. I never do because it's huge. The hood I recommend if you want to have something on there is the screw-on hood from the 2.8 LMR collapsible, the modern version.
Very small.
That's a 39mm threaded hood. Good luck finding one, especially now that I just spoke those words out loud. The entire market is saying it a duffel.
I mean, it's also that hood is super small.
Yeah, so it's, again, that's really more about protection.
Not
I don't
flare
use the giant hood that comes with the, I think it's 12575, if my memory serves.
When I use the 90 macro M, which I do,
Yeah.
I don't use any hood.
Yeah.
And
All right, let's do one more question.
the
and then
optics are very
Let's do
resistant.
one more question, and then we'll get on to the next topic. Don't worry, we'll have more time for questions. We just got to get through
Oh,
stuff.
I am worried.
I know you are.
I'm worried.
Okay. Is there a significant difference between the rendering of the Summilux version 5 and the new Summilux at f2? Any reason to update if I don't shoot wide open at 1.4?
That is an incredibly specific question.
that's
Let me just make sure I understand. So the 11-26, the version 5 versus the preaspheric that we haven't even tried yet?
I don't think we want to
the new
speak
one.
to that yet.
Yeah.
So
Summilux.
we will be doing in-depth content on this, and we will be testing.
I mean, I get why you're asking that, but those two lenses are so different. You're talking about a lens that sells used for like $1,500 to $1,800, which is great. It's been in the catalog forever, versus a lens that's based on a vintage design. I think. Oh, go ahead.
I can speak to this. So remember when we did the. You remember, but you may not remember.
Yeah.
We did an entire episode on bokeh.
Oh, that's right.
And what we found that was pretty fascinating, because I sat right here and photographed this thing that you can't see, but I can see. We have a little photo set up over there. And we pretty clearly showed that there is, wide open, there is a Summicron look. And we did compare it to a Summilux, both wide open and stop down, and they were different look.
Yeah.
There was a very distinctive look for the Summicron and for the Summilux. And I think at that time, Josh, I mean, you might be surprised that you might have said this, but wow, I guess there's good justification to have both. Does that sound like something you'd say?
Totally out of character.
Totally
for me.
out of
I'm
character.
very conservative like that.
So if you haven't seen the bokeh episode, check it out on the channel. And we specifically looked at, and I believe it was a 50mm of testing the 1.4 Summilux versus the f2, or maybe the 50 f2 APO.
Yeah.
I'm a little fuzzy on this one, but I do recall that we did see a noticeable difference between wide open on a Summicron and one stop down on a Summilux. And it's not specific to this vintage lens, but just in general, speaking about a 1.4 maximum aperture stop down one stop versus an f2 wide open.
Yeah, but we'll do an episode and we'll cover that. So let's move on to the next topic, but keep asking questions because there's good ones coming. We just have to.
Jose is going to jot them
Carry
down
on.
as we go.
Okay, Mr. Farkas.
Yes.
Now we've talked about hardware. Let's talk about software, or more specifically, firmware. Give us a general overview of the key things we saw Leica do for M System firmware in the last year and 2 months.
And go.
And go.
Okay, so we've actually seen quite a bit. A lot. I guess we can address the miniature elephant in the room, which is some of the M11s did experience some freezing issues along the way, and Leica spent some time working on various firmware updates to address that and kind of nail it down. I believe that we are pretty well past that. I don't know if anyone's still having that.
Yeah,
that issue.
I know they've been. I think the main reason we're seeing updates now is because there's like the P and the M11-D and the Monochrom.
yeah.
But it's
original
it's
M11.
fortunately been a while since, even with the pre-owned M11s that we're selling with the current firmware, I haven't had to send one in for service or replace one in a long time. So I've been pretty satisfied with the stability.
Yeah.
But I'm appreciative of the fact that Leica just isn't sitting on their heels saying like, we're good. Like they're continuing as they add new features to find bugs, which are going to happen. But David will cover that.
Yeah.
So.
Now, I think the most significant update was back in December.
Okay.
And that was the, 220 update. And that was for M11, M11P, M11-D, and M11 Monochrom. They are all in the M11 family, but they all have unique individual firmware for each of those cameras.
Right.
They are not cross-compatible. You cannot take an M11 firmware and put in an M11P. You cannot take an M11P firmware and put it in a Monochrom, etc., and vice versa. So do make sure that you are downloading the correct one when you do update your firmware. And I think that's significant because there's a really cool feature. One, we talked about how photos is being updated, and you wouldn't know this exists even if you updated your camera, but you didn't upgrade photos, you wouldn't know this feature is out there. It is background image transfer. Already with the M11 generation, the connectivity to the Photos app is so much better and so much faster than it was with the M10 generation. the connection, the setup is faster, the connection is faster, the reconnection is faster, and the image transfer is faster. The background transfer function doesn't use Wi-Fi, so you don't actually have to go into the WLAN mode and have the camera saying like, connecting. This is using that Bluetooth LE or low energy radio, which is separate from the Wi-Fi radio. By its name, it uses a lot less energy than the Wi-Fi does. It's a lot slower, so it's not great for doing large volume transfers. But Leica was really smart in the way they implemented this, which is basically sending the embedded preview thumbnail from the image in the background as you're shooting, sending it to your phone, which you do have to have the Photos app running at least in the background. It can't have it shut down. And it's pretty cool because the next time you open the Photos app and you go to look at the photos that are on the memory card, all those thumbnails are already there. It doesn't have to load them. And when you click on an image, that's when it'll use the high-speed Wi-Fi connection to load the larger file and match it up with the preview. So it's really cool because you may not want to download your whole card to your phone. This allows you to pick and choose, and then you get super fast transfer in like 1 to 2 seconds of the actual full-size image that you can then either put in Lightroom Mobile, you can use the Leica Looks, you can send it to Instagram or text it or whatever you want to do with it. It's really, really useful. And of course, something we keep talking about but have never shown, it also allows you to quick print it to a Softport 2.
We'll get there.
Which is so cool.
But David, if I want to learn about the newest firmware updates and find links to download them from my camera,
yes.
Where do I find them on the internet?
Oh, no. You can go to red.forum.com.
You mean this thing right here, red.forum. Yeah.
Red.forum.
David works very hard to make a post about each update where he talks about the improvements and go to the computer, Jose, and to David.
So you'll see, actually, the last here, if you click on the main page.
You know what's funny? He has his water bottle in front of his monitor, but I was like expecting to see it on the preview. I was like, oh, wait, where's the water bottle? Oh, right. It's not how it works.
So you'll see these are the latest episodes here. We also we highlighted this in our last episode, but I've reworked it. So all of our latest YouTube videos also show on here as well. But you'll see the latest news. What just happened was same day that the 50 Summilux was announced, we also had new firmware for the M11 family of cameras, which don't get bent out of shape. It's not very different than the 2.2.0 firmware that came out in December. The .1, it's what we call a minor firmware update, and it basically was just a couple bug fixes. Nothing major, but you should download it. And then what I do, because in the past, and you can
come back to us
real quick.
Yeah.
Leica in the past has sort of redone websites here and there through the years, and then links to files just sort of vanish. So what we've done is we have actually downloaded every single digital camera firmware file. And I mean every single firmware
we're
file.
talking about cameras that are not in production and firmware you can't get from Leica directly anymore.
M8 firmware,
M9
like firmware.
S2 firmware.
S2 firmware. X.
Anyway, get to the point.
Okay. So we host all those files on our red.forum server so that the links don't change. They are totally accessible all the time. So I do want to show you this.
Jose, can we come back to the computer?
And this was I'm going to give props where it's due. This was Josh's idea. And I was like, yeah, sure, why not? Under technical articles, if you click that, you click it better. There we go. I have here pinned the Leica firmware master list. And this will help you find the latest version.
It's going slow. There it is.
We're
streaming, so sorry.
The latest version of your firmware. Now you can go by system and you can quick link here, but here's M. And this is every digital M camera going back to the M8 and the latest firmware version.
And the day it was announced.
The day it was announced. And if there is an article outlining what it is, you can click that link to get details on it.
Right, so this is a comprehensive way to see if all your cameras are updated. And if you've watched this show before, or if you've ever talked to me in any capacity, you need to update your firmware. You need to update your firmware. I will judge you. David is dying right now because he knows. You're right there. Get water, drink some.
I think I just inhaled some studio.
Yeah, that happens. But anyway, so check my .forum. That is where you will get the latest firmware. But let's move on.
Yes.
I want you to ask me, Josh, what is the #1 question that you get asked at Leica Store Miami every single day?
Josh, what is the #1 question you get asked at Leica Store Miami every day?
Well, you'd be surprised to know it's not about the M11 or about the Noctilux. It's about these little guys.
Yes. Every single, I can
Every
attest to
single
this.
day. I'm actually,
Every
this is
single day.
exciting. So I would like to do my best to clear the air as someone who isn't a representative of Leica Camera Inc., but a representative of Leica Store Miami, but somebody who interacts with lots of people. If you own a Leica M8, M9, M240, M10 of any variation, you most likely have a battery, at least one, and possibly more. And perhaps you're looking to buy a spare or another one because these cameras are getting on the older side and batteries don't last forever. So what do? You go online, you try to buy one, you can't find it. Until you go to Leica Store Miami's page, you find a pre-order button, and then you reach out to me and you say, where can I get them? On the forum it says they're discontinued and they're blah, blah, blah. So here's the deal. Batteries for the M8, M9, M10, M240, they are still in production. Leica has not discontinued them. Leica has not canceled them.
Let's say that slower.
They are still in production.
No.
For which cameras?
For which cameras?
M8, M9, which is...
Show the battery.
Yeah, let's do the close-up here, Jose.
I want to make sure we're very clear.
We have the 14464 M8, M9 battery. We have the 14499 M240 battery and the 24003 M10 battery, okay? These three batteries are what take up 80% of my day. No, I'm exaggerating. But if you want one, you can pre-order one and you will get one eventually. Because Leica has had a very difficult time, for reasons outside of my knowledge, getting these made by their suppliers, probably because they're placing very small orders with these suppliers who are normally used to supplying millions or tens of millions of batteries. Supply has been very limited. And because supply has been limited for so long, and because simultaneously demand for digital M's has gone up, there is a disproportionate demand for batteries, and therefore that has depleted the global supply very quickly. I have had interactions with the folks at the factory in Germany. I have explained the situation to them. They are aware of it. They are working on it. This is not a situation where the batteries are discontinued. I just want to establish that. Now, could that change tomorrow? Yes. Okay, remember, I'm not speaking as a Leica camera representative. This is a Leica Store Miami, privately owned and operated store. But everyone at Leica that I have spoken to has told me the batteries are still in production. They're just hard to get. Now, if you're a Leica customer, you're used to things being hard to get. Just don't think that Leica is abandoning you. Leica is very aware of their legacy and very aware of how important it is that they make, to the best of their ability as a small company, their products as useful for as long a period of time as possible. So Jose can drop links in the chat if he wants to pre-order M8, M9, M240 or M10 batteries from Leica Store Miami. Again, you will get one eventually. We don't charge you to pre-order it. It could take months. It could take a year. I don't know. But what I do know is that eventually Leica will catch up. There'll be a big batch of batteries that hits the North American market, and suddenly the demand will dry up and they'll be in stock, and you'll all forget about all the times you had to email me and ask for batteries. So I love the fact that these cameras are still getting used because that's what Leica is all about.
It is.
Leica is all about 7 years of M. They're celebrating 100 years since the Leica one this year in 2025.
So exciting.
Leica does genuinely care about not just the customers who use the current stuff, but about the customers who use the legacy products. That includes digital cameras. Of course, some things are going to fall out of repairability. You can't replace an M3 viewfinder anymore, I'm sorry to tell you, et cetera, et cetera. But they are still in production. They are not discontinued. The last thing I'll mention is that the M9 batteries and the M240 batteries have switched from the Leica catalog to the Leica parts department. This is kind of not that important for end users, but parts tend to be a little bit harder to get. They also tend to come in just generic brown boxes.
I do think that's also why there's been some misunderstanding. Because, and I'm just going to call it that, which is when there's reports of, oh, well, that battery's been discontinued. The new retail boxed part is discontinued.
Correct.
The actual item has just been reallocated from, a fancy silver box to a plastic bag with a sticker on it.
So if you buy an M9 battery or an M240 battery and it comes like with no packaging or really generic looking packaging, don't be discouraged. That is, at least if you buy it from Leica Store Miami, I'm not going to speak about any other retailer, but if you buy it from us and it comes, and I have a note in the listing that says that. So again, that's really the only difference you'll notice. So please don't be discouraged. I understand it's frustrating. I know you want it. We want to sell it to you, okay? It's my job for you to give me your money and me to give you something you need.
I also want to clarify as well. They are OEM Leica batteries, not...
Yeah, these are Leica batteries.
And they're brand new.
I can't speak to third-party batteries, which I can't speak good or bad about them, okay? But I'm just telling you, the official Leica batteries that are manufactured for Leica, sold by Leica to their customers for the M8, M9, M240, that means 246 monochrome, 262, etc., and the M10 and all the variations based on those. You can still get them. It just, demand is way beyond Leica's ability to get them from their suppliers right now. We hope that gets better, but just hang in there. Don't be discouraged.
That's also a testament to how many of these previous generation cameras are still in use today.
Yeah, yes. It's been amazing to see the uptick in interest and pricing on all of these cameras. I mean,
and the longevity.
Yeah, it's amazing. So I'm staying positive while still being frustrated. So I get it. I thoroughly get it.
Wait, you're positively frustrated?
I'm positively frustrated.
Yes,
so if you want one, put your pre-order in. Don't complain to me about not being able to get one and then not pre-order, because then you're never going to get one. Right. If you put your pre-order in, you will eventually get one. Just don't ask me when, because I have no idea. I can't even get one for myself, okay? Like, I need a 240 battery like there's no tomorrow, and I can't even get one. So, and I won't prioritize myself over all you kind folks at home, I promise. Anyway, I just wanted to address that topic. Hopefully that calms down people, maybe even a tiny little bit.
A little bit, maybe?
Because there is a lot of information or misinformation out there about the fact, they're discontinued, Leica's not supporting us anymore, blah, blah, blah. It's not true.
Right.
So I just wanted to establish that.
Okay.
Now we can talk about some exciting 100-year things.
Oh, yeah.
Because we're going to talk about the clothing.
Because you mentioned that, yeah.
Right. So to celebrate, all right, here's how much Leica loves us, okay? To celebrate their 100 years of delivering cameras, they didn't come out with just one fancy new accessory or one $25,000 special edition. They came out with 15 new accessories.
Is there?
Now,
we have a
if you go
whole
on our website,
collection, right?
If you go on our website, you're not going to find all 15. You know why? Because I'm only going to mark them on our site when you can actually get them. You've had enough pre-ordering batteries as it is. So if you go on Leica's website, yes, you'll see these 15 cool new things, and they're going to come over the next few months. But what I want to do is highlight the 3 that are available, because all I really do is show things you can't get. So for once, I'm thinking of the people, okay?
Can you show this one?
Because what?
That one?
Yeah, I'm getting there.
Okay.
So let's talk quickly about these 3 things that I have available. The first one is this cute little dot. This is a really nice Leica lapel pin. I don't know if the close-up will get it, but we're going to try.
That's why I want to bring it up here.
Look at that. Like 10 millimeters. It's made out of brass and coated in nickel, I think, so it's super cool. Just a nice little way to show your love for Leica while, not being obnoxious about it. So super, super cool. It's right there, top left. David has it on the computer. That's probably better.
There we go.
And computer. Go. There it is. Okay. That's the first one. I see now. We're sold out. So we'll get more, though. They've been shipping them. We got a bunch.
And there's for scale.
Don't despair. Yeah.
Look at that.
Okay. Next thing is... is this. Okay. Here we go. This is the, what do they call this officially, so I get it right? Faber-Castell for Leica, crafting set and color pencils M camera.
Here, I have it up.
And this is a fitting time. Don't go to the computer.
Okay.
This is a fitting time. I'm going to reward you for staying this long, because we have a prototype of the new M12.
Wow.
It has a built-in plasma screen TV. You can watch the Super Bowl on it. It's amazing. You ready for this? Here it is. Find out. Super, super light. It's so light it feels like paper.
Almost.
Amazing.
Yeah, almost,
Let's get a close-up, Jose. Let's get a close-up. Let's get a close-up of the M12. Look at that. Now, in all seriousness, this is one of the new products from Leica. This is our own colleague Tim did hard work on this. What it is a paper model of a Leica that you put together, and it comes with a set of 6 colored pencils. We keep the close-up, and I'll show you. Colored pencils, which come in this cute little box. Look at that. Look at that.
We'll show the box.
Okay, first of all, the box alone is worth whatever this thing costs, $45.
Amazing.
Look at that thing. That is freaking cool.
I actually do want that.
I know. And then you open it up, and you get these beautiful colored pencils. The urge to use these right now is very strong. Look at that. Look at that shot right there. Hold on. Wait. Oh, awesome. And then inside of that, you get the camera with instructions, et cetera, et cetera. So it's all flat. You got to put it together. So if you want to make your very own Leica M12 and have the newest camera on the block before Jonah Slack does, then sorry, Jonah, if you're watching.
And look, and it has a usable viewfinder.
Look, it has a real viewfinder. Look at this. Look at this. It's real. This is a real camera, okay? This is serious. This is important. So thank you, Tim, for the great work on this and letting me show it. I'm breaking it. Okay. Okay, so that's that.
Keep in mind, it is not weather sealed.
No, it is not. Well, I mean,
if it gets wet, it melts.
It's very easy to replace. And the last 100-year accessory that we saw is
but come to here so they can see.
Oh, yeah, sorry. Yeah. Go to the computer screen. Hey, there it is on our website. And Jose, you can drop links in the chat if you wish.
Right, and you can see that's what the camera looks like without it.
Without
colored.
Tim's amazing artwork on it.
Yeah.
So if you want to buy the M12, it's only $45. Crazy, and it's actually in stock, which is just absolutely mind-blowing.
Amazing.
Okay, next. This. Now, I thought I would be clever and put this together real quick before the show started until I opened it up for the first time an hour ago and realized that ain't gonna happen. This is the 3D puzzle Leica. Now, when I saw this, I'm thinking jigsaw puzzle, okay?
Yes.
It's not a jigsaw puzzle, which I would have known if I bothered to look at the picture, but I'm too busy answering emails
You want
about
to show the
batteries.
picture first or not?
No.
Okay, you wanted.
So,
okay, go.
the best part about this is not the thing you get in the box, it's the instructions that you get. And I told David that I was going to read him from some of the instructions.
I haven't seen this yet.
Because they are hilarious. Here we go. So, before you start, look at the picture of the finished product before assembling to have a general understanding of the model. Okay, so don't even look at the box yet. Look at the photo.
Fair.
Install and sequence as shown in the breakdown. Okay. Parts, I love this part. Parts disassembly attention to moderate force to prevent damage to parts. The board is made of plywood. Okay. Here's the best part. Now, trivia question.
Yes.
What is the first Leica product ever to be sold with its own sandpaper? If you guessed this, you would guess correctly. Now, your definition of sandpaper is probably a little bit different than Leica's definition of sandpaper, because this is the sandpaper you get. You haven't seen this, obviously. This is literally the teeniest, tiniest piece of sandpaper you've ever seen. Look at this cute little guy.
Put it in your hand.
Here's some perspective for you. So, yes, if you want, and here we go. Please use sandpaper and a utility knife, which they don't give you, to smooth the edges at the solder points. This will simplify it. So not only do you have to put this together yourself, you have to sand the edges first. Obviously, this is a super cool little project. David, pull up Jose, pull up the screen so you can see what it actually looks like. So you basically get it flat in two sheaths like this, kind of like model airplane style, and
It turns into this.
It turns into that. So I am nowhere near qualified to put this together.
Wow.
I have a feeling you could do this in your sleep.
Now, hold on a second.
What?
You know what I also noticed?
What's that?
Because, I guess that's the edge grain. I was going to say,
It's the edge.
if they also make you use like a heat gun to actually finish it,
Oh my goodness! So
or make your own lacquer.
So in all honesty, this is really cool, and you get your own schleif. Schleif paper.
But look at, oh my god, like
That's amazing.
I mean,
If you worked hard at Leica to design this and you're watching the show, I promise you we appreciate it. We just think it's funny.
it's like engineering schematics, except for a wooden little Leica. That's
I think the plans for your
Amazing.
house are less complicated than this. But
That's amazing.
it's not as complicated as it looks. It's just, they're German, so they're very precise. Okay. So anyway, so some super cool, fun, and mildly comical accessories that we got
What's
so far.
funny, so you can see, so it's $65 for that, which is actually pretty inexpensive for what you're getting there.
Yeah, it's pretty elaborate.
I feel like it'll cost you thousands in labor though to put together.
I'll have to retire and just think of a full-time Leica 3D puzzle manufacturer. Oh, boy.
That is crazy.
All right, so let's get on to one last the red dot wear shirt, and then we'll move on to some questions, and then I'll get to some really cool stuff.
Okay. So
Anyway.
wait, does anyone know about this yet?
Well, it's on our website. We haven't officially announced it.
Here we go.
Ooh, this is our new red dot wear top plate, N3 top plate tee,
Yeah.
designed by our very own Kirsten. It is now a color we have decided to call blue cyan, green, green, gray, blue.
Yeah, it's like a
Greenish, bluish, grayish color.
yeah, it's nice.
It's very nice.
With a heathering, so you can see if we get a close up here.
Oh, here we go.
I'm gonna try to
Top down.
there we go.
Look at that. Look at that.
Look at that. So and it's a special unique serial number 00.
That's right.
Zero.
They're all the
Zero,
same serial
zero.
number. I'm sorry. We didn't.
We didn't serialize that
That
t-shirt.
would have been amazing.
But so if you don't know about Red Dot Wear, we do come out with these occasionally, and they are all made in America t-shirts. They are usually tri-blend. They're super comfy. They don't shrink. They are nice in the hot Miami weather. And it's kind of my wardrobe when I'm at home.
Yeah.
As I just have a whole wardrobe of Red Dot Wear t-shirts.
Yeah.
And they're printed here locally in Miami. They're screen printed locally in Miami. So these are really nice. We also have another one as well.
Right, of course. M12.
You can hold that one up.
Ah, here we go. Our favorite logo. If you watched the show before, you know our favorite thing to say, which is what we say every other day. These are for sale as well in the Red Dot Wear line. If you want to show your love to the show, it's got a cool Red Dot From Camera Talk patch on the sleeve as well.
Embroidery, yeah.
Embroidered, yeah. Awesome. So shout out to Kirsten for making these things happen. Let's take a break for some questions, and then I'm going to show you the limited Red Dot.
Oh, yes.
logo.
Yeah.
But first, let's do a few
Questions.
questions.
To the questions.
To the questions.
All right. Where can we get the Leica lens cap with a white font?
It comes with the Noctilux Glossy. I doubt Leica will sell it to you by itself, so you have to buy that Glossy Noctilux to get it. And the reality is it's only going to fit that lens, so...
So buy the lens.
That's right.
Sell the lens.
Yes.
Keep the cap.
Next.
That's how you get it.
Next question.
Okay. Do you have any advice about keeping clean anodized black aluminum versus black chrome versus black paint surfaces, especially fingerprints on black paint?
So there's two schools of thought here. You have cleaning it just to make it look prettier and cleaning it to prevent it from getting damaged. So to me, the most important thing you need to do is keep dust and grit and dirt away from it. A blower bulb that blows filtered air is the way to go for that, which I had, and now it's here. Oh, here we go. Like one of these. You can also use like a fine brush, like a horsehair brush, because fingerprints aren't going to hurt the camera. In fact, all your cameras should have fingerprints on it, unless there's a fingerprint on the rangefinder window, which is another story.
I mean, I think over years,
Okay,
the
I don't
oils
think
in your
so.
fingers.
I don't think so, but
Why do you wear gloves? Why do you wear gloves?
because they look cool.
Okay.
Come on.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Josh just
so
wants to look like a serial killer.
you know, black paint is more prone to fingerprints just by virtue of its glossy finish. Black anodized, not so much. But again, I really think it's about keeping the camera free of like grit and dirt, especially around the kind of edges like by the screen, the shutter speed dial.
Yep.
So what I use is a combination of a little like horsehair brush and a lens cloth.
You also have your little electric blower as well.
I do. I have one of those Nightcore filtered air blowers, which is really cool. But I only really clean cameras that thoroughly when they're about to be sold. So I don't clean my own cameras when I'm using them like that. I just kind of wipe down any of the screen, the viewfinder, EVF sensors, things like that.
I would make a public service announcement.
Yes, go ahead.
While a blower bulb is good, and the electric blower that Josh has is good, and they're both filtered. The blower bulb is filtered air, his is filtered air. I highly recommend not using canned air because canned air comes out extremely cold and wet. It has residue that comes out of it, and it can actually damage the camera. So do not use canned air, ever.
If something is that stuck to your camera, then it's a Leica clean. So that's a good question, though. Let's do like one more, and then I'll show some.
Oh, and the other
yes.
easy way to keep that
Your handkerchief?
I keep, yeah.
Oh,
no,
like-
not
like a-
handkerchief. Well, I use a Leica lens cloth. It does say Leica on here somewhere. Leica lens cloth, and that's what I use to wipe down the camera. And yeah, it's just good habit. But like Josh is saying, getting kind of in the grooves between the dials, that's where a lot of that kind of soot buildup is. And just make sure you keep it clean. And I don't use anything on it. I just leave it dry. And that's generally enough to wipe the fingerprints off of it. I don't know if that question was also not just how to keep each of those finishes clean, but which looks cleaner over time. And I'd probably think that the matte black paint of the M11, M11-P, M11 Monochrom tends to be the most fingerprint resistant because it has a little bit of a texture to it, and it's not anodized. Anodized tends to kind of pick up that silvery patina over time. The more modern black paint versions, non-glossy, are designed to have a little longer wear life to them. And of course, the glossy black paint over brass just looks beautiful when it wears.
Right.
Like, you shouldn't prevent that.
Now, we are going to do something on the show we've never done before. We are going to launch a new Red Dot Wear product right now, meaning it's not live on the website right now. You can't find it.
I actually make it live while this is happening.
I'm going to have you hover over the save button. So you're familiar with this. Jose, give me a close up, please. This is our Red Dot Wear Pewter M3 keychain. It's always been a great seller for us. It's awesome. You can see the size. It's really, really nice. And this is like M3 with the 50 Summicron dual range on it. Super, super cool. And we've had this for a while. And again, it's a great seller. We give it away. It's awesome. We decided, when I say we, I mean me, that this wasn't enough. Because, of course, I always want more. Now, what's more special than a silver M3? Well, why not a black paint M3? Presenting today, live, exclusively, the new Red Dot Wear limited edition black paint M3 keychain. Here's the cool part. This is black paint over brass, just like a real black paint M3. It will show patina and will show brass as you use it over time. You can see it's the same size as the other one, except it doesn't have a dual range, which never came in black paint. It's got a regular rigid version 2. And the best part of all, well, the second best part is the fact that the chain and the keyring are also black, but I don't know if you can see this, very hard to see. They are individually numbered, 000, which is mine, can't have it, all the way through 100. So there's only going to be 100, and each one is a number engraved into the brass. So David or Jose can drop a link in the chat if they haven't already.
It is live.
Did you make it live?
I did.
Did you make sure that it works?
Nope. I will though.
Yeah, see, it says preview still. I'm going to refresh.
Yeah.
F5. Anyway, these are gorgeous in person, and I cannot wait to see how these brass over time. What I'll do is anyone who buys one, like the next show is your kit. If you bought one, like throw it in there and let's see how brassed up it gets, because it is just like a little jewel, like a little work of art. Credit to Kirsten. These are made in Canada, so they're North American. Again, handcrafted or hand molded based on our designs and our specs, and real black paint over brass that will brass over time, and individually numbered 000 through 100. So it's something I've been super excited about for a couple of months. I've been waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting for these to be available, and finally we got them. So if you're a fan of cool Leica swag, if you're a black paint enthusiast, if you just want to have something that's like show your friends something different, pick up one of these before they sell out. I doubt they'll last through the next week. At least I hope not. Again, only 100 of these, not including whatever I swiped from the batch. Is it working or not?
Where would it show up?
Red dot where? Brands? Red dot where?
Uh-huh.
He's having a hard time. And then sort. No, it's not showing. What are you doing to me?
It is active.
Go
Active.
to more. Pardon me. More actions.
Yeah.
See, it says preview.
I know.
Why does it say preview?
I don't know. This is what you get for launching it
Oh
live.
my gosh! Don't start with me. Give me this thing. Give me the mouse. Hold on.
Jose, while he's doing that, do you have any questions?
When is the black paint keychain gonna be available?
Now I'm working on it. Come on. What is happening right now?
I don't know. Let's see.
Why does it keep saying
Says
preview?
Suspense.
Oh.
It worked earlier.
Oh, no.
It's so weird.
There it is.
Why can't I get it?
All right.
Hold on.
Kirsten, help us.
All
Do
right.
I have to go here? No.
No. That's fine. That's fine.
Something
Nope.
is amiss.
Nope, it's not.
You know, look. We'll figure it out. This is what I get. I love it because we started the show early. Like we were like so prepared. Everything is perfect. And now I'm hyping everybody up on this keychain. You can't even get it.
Oh, sad. Here. That it?
See if that works. No, it doesn't work.
Ooh, sad face.
It's gotta
Guess
be
what?
it's gonna be a
It's
Shopify
so
one?
limited, we can't even sell it.
Oh wait. Oh, I know why.
You do?
Yeah.
Ah. Okay.
Bingo.
Hey.
No, wait. Hold on. Refresh. Stand by, please.
It's a bingo.
Hey, I see it.
Is it working now?
Okay.
Sorry, I just had to click one extra button.
All right.
Practice makes perfect, they say.
There it is.
Hey, there it is.
All right, Jose.
I'm so sorry. Put the link in the
Am I
chat
sending it
now.
or are you sending it?
It's good.
There you go.
You gonna put it in the chat, David?
What? Oh, no, you can do
Jose,
it.
you can do it.
Can we send it?
Whew. Yeah,
Wow.
you just saw it in real time what my life is like every day.
Wow.
Is it working? No. Is it working now? Still no. That's okay. It's endearing. It's fine.
fine.
It's adorable.
Don't worry about it.
I'm just roiling you guys up. So yes, it does. Oh, by the way, I should say it's not a real camera. It doesn't actually work.
Wait, what?
Someone asked me. I think
digital, right?
Jeff asked me if you could put film in here. If you get it in there, you let me know. I'm just saying. But anyway, black paint keychain for the win. Only
For the
100.
win. There it is.
Only 100. Order now, and don't order like 10. Okay, don't be lame. Okay, order like 1 or 2. Give everyone a chance. If I see anyone order more than 2, I'm gonna be mad at you.
Canceling the order.
If I see this on eBay next week, I swear. All right.
And they're sold out. No, I'm kidding.
Now,
No, they're not sold out yet.
before I show the next cool thing, letting people order. Let's talk
other item?
about. Well, then it's that down there. But people are ordering,
yeah,
so I
yeah.
don't want to. I'm gonna space.
No,
it
we've
out
got
a
some announcements. Oh, well, we can talk about the events coming up because it is 9 o'clock. So that's
bit. Yes.
traditionally.
I do have something else amazing to show you in a few minutes while you guys are busy ordering keychains. David is going to do a little more Daviding,
Ooh, Daviding.
Which
I don't
is-
even know what that is.
talking.
Oh, okay.
Stay
Talking.
focused now.
Yep, I'm
we
so
are going to
focused.
talk about the. You want to talk about events first?
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll skip that for now. We'll go to events. Well, let me talk about the opening, and then I'll
Sure.
let you go.
Yeah, of course.
You all who are watching, after you're done buying Black Paint M3 keychains, need to get on an airplane and come to Miami on Friday, March 7th. We are having a gallery opening. Now, if you don't know this, Leica Store
I
Miami.
want to leave with that. Okay.
Leica Store Miami has, yes, I want to leave with that.
Here we go.
Leica Store Miami has a gallery where we hang pretty pictures on the wall. An amazing photographer, young photographer, working photographer by the name of Evan Lewis, who has done many trips to Alaska, flying in airplanes, doing crazy things, building this incredible body of work. is showing his work. The title of the project is called Ascending Alaska.
Yep.
And Jose can pull it up on the screen. And he has these absolutely huge, gorgeous metal prints that are just stunning to see in person. And we want to make sure that we're supporting young artists, especially ones who are shooting Leica and who are super, super talented and driven. So if you are around in Miami on March 7th, which is Friday night, come support us, support Evan. There's always drinks, there's always snacks. I'm gonna be there. Maybe I'll have a Blackpink keychain for you if you're real nice to me. No, I'm kidding. The event is free, the keychains are not. So I just want to give Evan a shout out for being just an amazing photographer and someone who has just an incredible body of work far beyond what we're showing on the walls. So if you want to meet him, learn a bit more about his process, about his technique, shoots SL3, SL2, MP film camera, everything. That's going to be awesome. That's Friday, March 7th. So be there, come hang out with me, and have a good time. Have a beer with me. What else is going on, David?
Well,
I need to
we
hydrate.
also, the same weekend, Josh, we have a special event coming up.
Another reason to come to the store that day. I love
Yes. So we are partnering again with KEH from Atlanta to do a buy, sell, and trade event for non-Leica gear, right? So we are happy to do trades and purchases of Leica gear, but we're always in a little bit of a conundrum for what happens when someone says, well, I have this other brand X thing that,
it. Right.
I want to trade in. We're like, that's great, but we can't put it on Leica Store Miami website. So we have, this is now what, the third or fourth
I
time?
think it's the fourth time we've done it with them.
Yeah, the fourth time we've done it.
Yeah.
And they're really fantastic. They set up a little table in the store and basically will buy just about anything. I mean, you could bring in like the remains of parts of a camera and they'll probably buy that. They prefer cameras that are in one piece that function and lenses and things. But yeah, they'll give you an offer right on the spot. And Josh, I think there's also a bonus, right?
Yes. So if you come to the store and you bring your non-Leica equipment to sell to KEH, if instead of opting for a check payout, you want store credit with Leica Store Miami to buy something, you get an extra 10%. So if KEH is offering you $1,000 to buy it outright, they'll give you $1,100 to go use at Leica Store Miami, which conveniently is in the same place that KEH is going to be.
Wow.
So the KEH rep is this awesome guy named Kevin Beasley, who is just the best. He's also a big Leica guy too. So he's excited to be there. And you don't have to ship in your gear. You just come to the store, you bring it with you. We'll have coffee, we'll have snacks. And then if you come on Friday, you can sell your gear, get some money, and then stay for the gallery opening, and then we can all get drunk. It'll be great.
Amazing.
What about workshops, David? We got some stuff coming up.
We
right?
do. So.
Go to David, Jose.
Yep.
Thank you.
All right. So we have I think we had a last minute cancellation for this, like as of yesterday. We had a cancellation for the up until then full workshop in Lisbon. It is coming up soon in about 2 weeks, Lisbon, Portugal. This is a street photography workshop with Portuguese photographer Rui Paula, and our own Kirsten Vignes will be there as well as the Leica specialist. It is an awesome trip. It is limited. There's only, I think, 8 total people here. Lisbon is a beautiful city. Rui is an incredible photographer. So if you are, wanting to learn with him, and I think his work transcends beyond simple street photography because his compositions, his lighting, framing are just so beautiful. I mean, these are, it's not just little grab shots. It's just gorgeous compositions. And you can learn from a master like Rui. So definitely, Portugal is not hard to get to, especially Lisbon. There is a lot of nonstop flights from major cities, certainly on the east coast of the U.S., that you can be in Lisbon in 6 hours. So check it out. See if it fits in your schedule. We got 1 spot left. This one, we've done it a few times, and it always fills up quickly. So this is a great opportunity.
Yes.
All right.
What else we got?
To give
the goodies.
we got a little more time here. This is coming up in May.
Okay.
But our own Colin McKinley will be leading the Monument Valley astrophotography workshop. I think we're doing 2, but 1 is full. We've got 1 spot left for this one, and it's going to be amazing. You get these gorgeous compositions.
I don't think there's anybody on the planet who has more experience with shooting Leica, shooting astrophotography with Leica, and not only himself, but working with tons of other Leica photographers to get the best images. So Colin is literally the preeminent expert in this area.
Indeed. So we've been doing the trip out in Moab, Utah. This one we actually
Ooh, nice.
Yes.
Hey, you and I went on that workshop once.
Yes.
That was ages ago.
Yes. So we got 4x4s that take us. I'm not going. I say the royal we. Take you all who want to go on this workshop actually into the Monument Valley. And what's really unique, because normally to go, because it is Navajo lands, you do have to go with Navajo guides. And generally speaking, you stay in a hotel outside of the park and then go into Monument Valley for excursions. There's actually going to be an opportunity to camp out or glamping overnight on top of a mesa, far away from any kind of lights, city lights, and they'll be cooking food for you. You can sleep out there and just be right under the stars all night for amazing astrophotography. This is going to be a really great trip.
That's sick.
All right, and I think we have
Mongolia, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Also, sorry, we also have a few spots left for definitely further afield than Monument Valley. My colleagues Peter and I. Who are we going with? Sorry, this is with.
That's okay.
Whatever.
Doesn't matter. Anyway, at least Peter's going to be there probably.
Peter's going to be there. Yes.
Yes.
All right.
Don't get too tied up.
But going to Mongolia in June for almost 2 weeks. This is going to be a cultural immersion trip where just a lot of really interesting photographic opportunity in a place where most people don't get to go.
Yeah.
With
So
Michael Turek.
It is.
Michael
It
Turek.
is. Michael,
Thank
yeah.
you, Jose.
So it's going to be Peter and photographer Michael Turek. Fantastic. I did a trip with Michael in Bhutan. Peter just did a trip with him in Kenya a few weeks ago, a month ago. And Michael is just a fantastic, enthusiastic Leica shooter as well. He is big into film, big into Leica M's. So
Yeah.
he let him be your spirit guide.
Now, I also want to ask you about one more news item before I show the super, super cool thing.
Yes.
What about those of us with M9s that have corrosion on the sensor?
Sure.
What do we do now? What do we do with that camera?
What do we do?
So while
my.
David pulls that up, if you own a Leica M9, you are probably familiar with the issue where the sensors would suffer from corrosion for a long time. Leica was replacing them. Eventually, that supply of sensors ran out because they weren't being manufactured anymore.
Correct.
So now, at least in North America, I can't speak outside of this market, Leica has a program where you can trade in through us or any authorized Leica dealer, but come on, we're your favorites. Trade in your M9 with corrosion towards any one of these new models. David will scroll down. And the recent addition to that program was the SL3. So before you could not trade for the SL3, it was the SL2.
Yep.
Now you can trade for the SL3. No, the SL3S is not on there yet. It usually takes between 7 months to a year for a new model to get added to the program when it becomes.
So in case you can't read it because it is pretty small.
Yeah. You made it smaller, bro.
I made it smaller. I know, it was just so big. You can upgrade to an M11P, an M11 Monochrom, an SL3 with an M adapter L, like Josh just showed, a Q3 or a Q2 Monochrom.
Right, so if it's not on this list, meaning M11-D, Q43,
Yes.
maybe one day, but this is the list. So don't ask me, well, what M11-D? Now, you could upgrade to an M11P, sell the M11P, and then use that money to buy an M11-D. That's fine. But yeah.
Okay.
This is a great way of Leica showing support for a product that they just can't fix anymore. But at least they're giving you a pretty solid value, especially for the M bodies, to get something new. So now, I promised I have something cool to show you. And unlike the keychains, there's only one of these that I have for sale. But it is awesome. So here we go. Trivia question that I will answer, but also ask. Now, we all know the cliche, and there's probably a few of these guys watching, that Leica is just for dentists and other things.
Uh-huh.
Right? It's been around forever. I knew when I was in college.
Yeah, I knew where this is going.
So, what is the only Leica that came with a toothbrush? Now, it may not be an actual toothbrush, but
Wait, is this like the sandpaper question?
yes,
So it's rhetorical. Ooh,
this is it.
a box.
This is it. It's a box. Now, if you know what this is, don't spoil it on the chat. Like my new friends from Ohio who got the sneak peek at this in the store today.
I'm going in there. I want to see.
This is a special edition Leica set that came out in 2016, and it is extremely rare. They only made 79. Now, a lot of sets now, even the really special titanium ones, we see 250, 350, 500, or 100. Only 79 of these beauties for the worldwide market. What could it be? Let's find out.
Wait, are we waiting for people to guess?
No.
Okay, let's go. Let's
I have to
go.
open it down here.
Don't mind Josh. He's just down there.
Don't mind me.
Don't mind him.
Okay. Now the gloves are coming on. Okay, here we go. Gloves are coming on. Because they look cool on the gloves, right?
They do.
I'm just saying. Here we go. Okay. Okay, the plastic rustling will ASMR for you guys. This is what we have in store for you. This beauty. I'll show you from the top down. This is the Leica MP Type 240 Grip by Rolf Sachs. Rolf Sachs is a Swiss, German, French designer, industrialist, artist, collector, whatever, who has this particular style, both incorporating the color red and incorporating two objects that don't necessarily go together. And what we're looking at here is a Leica MP Type 240 with the very, very distinct body covering. This is actually a rubber material, and if you've ever played table tennis, you're familiar with this. This is what's called a pips out rubber, which is generally used for more defensive play. Anyway, the design here was to make the camera more grippy. That is why it is called the Grip. Now, there's a few other really, really cool details that make this camera really special. First of all, look at the top plate. I'm gonna hide the lens for now. All of the text infill on the top plate is red. Where normally it would be white, it is red. But what makes this set extra super duper interesting is the lens. This is a 35 Summilux FLE version 1. This is a venerable, legendary lens. We've seen a variety of special editions, the like Wetzlar, the Ghost, etc., etc. But if you want one with red numbering and a red 35 logo, there's only two ways to get it. You could spend $50,000 to get the black paint one that came with the 70th anniversary of Korea Edition MP, or you could spend a heck of a lot less and get this black anodized one that came in the Rolf Sachs Grip set. So when I look at special editions, I try to find a balance between usability and standout ability and collectability, right? Because even though a lot of people don't use their special editions, and this one still has the original screen protector attached, so this was clearly never used, the reality is this camera, I find, strikes that balance really well because it's really a great conversation starter. It looks awesome. It's very unique, but it's not pink. It's not green. It's not ostentatious in any other way other than the leather here. And I find that the red lettering on top just looks really, really cool. And I'm not familiar with any other models that have it. Now, the cool part is what you get in addition to this camera, because you get a couple of cool accessories in this giant case, which I'm now going to attempt to wield in the most non-clumsy fashion possible. Can you see me? Oh, you can. Okay. First, you get a Leica SF40 flash. That's pretty cool.
Okay, I think that's the only special edition that comes with the flash.
Yes. So if you want a brand new SF40, just buy the set.
Well, they are backward right now,
Exactly, right? And of course, you get the case with the flash and the little flash foot, and you get the charger and all the cables. You get a really cool cotton rope strap, which is not one that I've seen used on any other special edition. So this is pretty cool. But the coolest part, and I mentioned earlier, is you get two cleaning tools, okay? The first one is actually what I was talking about earlier, which is like this little horsehair brush.
That one's really nice.
With a wooden handle.
Yeah.
And this is for cleaning like the sort of crevices of the camera. Or you've just got to your Leica gallery opening. Okay, you've got your grip set. You're dressed to the nines. You got your lapel pin. But you realize you got something stuck in your teeth. Don't worry, because you own the grip set, you also own the Leica toothbrush. Wrong one.
That's mine.
Wrong one. This is not a toothbrush, obviously, but it sure does a good imitation of one. What this brush is actually for is cleaning in between the bumps on the body covering, but I like to call it a toothbrush because I think it's hilarious. So I'll bet you, Dr. Kaufman brushes his teeth with this every morning, okay? If you're watching this, you let me know. And I'll show you my actual favorite Easter egg of this set.
Yeah.
Is you've all seen this case before. This comes with SL lenses, S lenses. It's very common. But what's interesting about this case, and I love that Leica took the time to do this, is that the drawstring is red.
Ooh, that is nice.
Show it on top down. So it actually is a red drawstring on the case. I've only ever seen it on this set that they did that. So again, they took the conventional case, you can come back to me, Jose, and they added the red drawstring to it. So for me,
Can you hold up the box? Because it is really cool looking.
Yeah. So the box.
Or maybe flip it here and open it.
I'm getting there.
Yeah.
It's just very large. Okay. Okay.
I'm at the
so
inside.
the set. Well, no, I want to show that it has the red.
It is very cool. Yeah.
The red logo on the set, and of course the red handle, and then the product code and the serial number. And what's cool is this one is number 2, 02 of 79, and the camera and the lens are numbered. I'll show that one more time before we leave this fun adventure. Can I actually open this on air?
Yeah.
Okay,
Open
let's
it
see.
this way. Yeah.
Like this.
Yeah. I think it's gonna work.
Oh my goodness. Okay.
Love that.
See, it's got the Leica logo here, and then you've got all the.
Kinda. Yeah.
You got your toothbrush,
Wow.
your horsehair brush, everything you could ever want. What I even love is like, you can't, I don't know if you can see this. Yeah, on the top down, Jose, give me that. The logo is even embossed in the foam. And then on the top insert for the foam, it's also there. It says grip. I mean, there's so much attention to detail in this set that I just love it. The last thing I want to show on the camera just before we move on, because I'm super excited about this, is of course you've got the classic Ralph Sachs logo on the body up here, kind of like black on black engraved. And then on the lens, on the bottom, I can show that right here. Can you see that? Kind of. So the lens, of course, is a matching number, 0279, and the camera, 02 of 79 on the hot shoe in red. So I hope you guys had fun seeing this. As you can tell, I am a huge fan. Number one, because I love the MP Type 240. Number two, because I love anything that looks cool. And this is one of the coolest looking and certainly one of the most underappreciated sets that Leica has done in recent years. And price point wise, if you haven't dropped the link in the chat, it's pretty reasonable contextually, considering how the certain prices of some special editions over the years have skyrocketed. Now, we didn't make this live until tonight, so if somebody's interested in it, they can grab it. I didn't have it on the site earlier in the week just to give you guys a chance at it. So anyway, that is your lesson in 2016 obscure Leica special edition history. And I will now defer to my colleague David.
Yes.
To move on to bigger and better things.
Oof. Okay. I do want to show. Jose, did you share a link to this?
Yep.
Okay.
Doing it right now.
There's no pictures on the site because
Right, we just got
it.
Right, but this what you're seeing is the one that's for sale. So I don't have another one of these
There you go.
floating around. This is it.
All right. So, Jose, let's bounce back, see if we got any questions or colorful comments.
Let me take my gloves off here. The gloves are off now.
The gloves are
All right.
off. Let's see.
From earlier, can I still get Leica batteries for my CL?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, that battery was used in a bunch of different cameras.
Yeah.
All right. Can you tell me, David, why you don't have an M10R preset? Is it the same as the general M10 preset?
Roughly, I typically just use the M10 preset. The M10R is a different sensor than the regular M10. It is different. If you want the honest truth, I'm being honest here. I didn't have much of a chance to shoot with the M10R before the M11 came out, and I really was just using the M10 or the M10P. I only shot with the M10R, on a couple occasions, not enough to actually generate enough work to create a profile. And now I don't have access to an M10R. So therefore, I have no images.
Yeah.
I can't make a profile for a camera that I don't have or images that I don't have from it. I would just suggest adapting the M10 profile. It's pretty close. Or you can even try using the M11 profile because the M10R sensor and the M11 sensor are probably more similar in terms of their ISO range and dynamic range than the M10 sensor is. So just play around, see what works.
Yeah.
The Lightroom presets that I have they are camera specific, but they're not camera specific. Lightroom doesn't care if you apply it to not that camera. And in fact, when a new camera comes out, I will typically use an existing preset to build off of to create it for the new camera.
You see, David spoiled y'all, okay? This man works tirelessly, took time out of his very busy schedule eating vegan snacks to make those presets, and then every time we do a camera, he goes, where's David's preset? Okay, give the man a break, okay? Look, when he started with the presets, his beard was dark, okay?
Right, yeah, it turned white now, yeah.
But now, I have 11 preset, and his beard just gray, like that, overnight.
That's the only reason.
Ridiculous.
The only reason, yeah.
Anyway.
For those who don't know what we're talking about,
Yes.
because
a little context.
I realize it's like, okay, this is maybe a little bit esoteric. If you go on Red.Forum and you go under technical articles again, there it is. If you go under
Wave your arms some more, please.
technical articles, okay,
boy.
and you saw we had that firmware master list that I highlighted earlier. If you scroll down, you'll see there's something called Lightroom presets for Leica cameras. And I do update this as new cameras come online. I do have the whole methodology and explain how I created these, why I use them, blah, blah, blah. If you scroll down, you will get to, eventually, there we go. You'll get to the current cameras. So the current cameras that we have here, I've got the M11, M11P, M11 Monochrom. These are both ISO adaptive presets, the latest available within Lightroom, so that they work with low ISO images as up to high ISO images adaptively, so that there are certain tweaks that you want to do for high ISO images that you wouldn't do for low,
Yeah.
and vice versa, right? Because some of the enhancements that I use at low ISO would just really, get grainy and noisy at high ISO, etc.
Yeah. Let's
But you can see here. So you should explore that for yourself. Download them. They are absolutely free. They are not for sale. Unlike everything Josh is selling, I am giving you everything for free.
I give them my charming personality.
I give them free firmware. I give them free Lightroom presets.
You're like Santa Claus. You're
I'm
like
Leica
Santa Claus.
the beard,
That's
the white beard. Yeah.
See, there you go. Let's talk about the last two topics, then we can use the
Yes.
rest of our time to answer questions, of which there are probably at least 7.
There probably are. So why don't I? I'll break the bad news. Let's break the bad news first.
You want to do that and then end with the?
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's do bad news first. Good news second.
Unlike diamonds, Leica lenses are not forever.
Wow. I need a moment with that. I need a moment with that.
I came up with that just now, just on the spot.
It's amazing. I couldn't tell.
Yes.
Okay, so that is true. As you can tell from the extensive back catalog of Leica cameras and lenses, Leica has a very long history, 100 years actually. You may have heard that.
Maybe even more than 100 years, depending on which anniversary you decide to celebrate, so you can come up with new accessories. Sorry, what?
And 7 years of M, right? Okay. So we have this massive back catalog of hundreds of lenses. Lenses don't last forever, right? So we're going to do like an in memoriam thing, right?
Oh my goodness, like at the Oscars.
Like the Oscars, yeah. So
we lost, let's get to the point. We lost 2 lenses
Yes.
in the last year from the catalog. The first one we don't have is the second version of the 28 Summilux spheric.
Yes.
Catalog number 11672. That lens is still excellent, especially for analog shooters, because if you don't want to have to deal with that possible close focus issue where you can't use the rangefinder to focus, not issue, but you can't use that on a non-live view camera, right? But you can use the regular distance, but if you don't want to deal with that, you get one of the pre-close focus lenses like the 28 Summilux.
Yes.
That was not a surprise to see because it was replaced.
Yes.
What we were mildly surprised to see was the discontinuation of this black tube. This is the 135. David is falling apart at the seams, people.
Listen, I'm
And
allergic to Josh's puns.
No, the reason he's falling apart is because you keep asking him for presets. Okay. Anyway.
Okay.
The 135 Appletella
Yes.
has been in the catalog for quite some time and is no longer in the catalog.
There you go.
I get it, right? It's not a lens that a lot of Leica shooters use, but the ones who use it, they love it.
Yes. High performing lens.
Exactly. As you know, if you have an M camera, the longest lens you can use with frame lines is 135, which is why we've never seen an M lens longer than that. Of course, you can adapt R lenses, whatever you want, but if you want a telephoto M lens, 135 is as long as you can get.
Yes.
So this lens was discontinued recently. I don't know if there's new ones out there. Conveniently, Leica Summilux-M has this very one for sale. We just posted this on our website. Jose can link to it if
Why
you
don't you
just.
do a top-down view?
We can show a top-down view.
There
You
you
can
go.
see how clean it is. Let's do it. It has a filter on it. Look at that beauty. And of course, it's 6-bit coded, which is very important because they weren't all made 6-bit coded, but we only sell them when they're 6-bit. Anyway, so if you're looking to grab one while they are still around, because if you notice the trends, 18 Super Elmar, 24 Summilux, 90 Almarit, the Summarits, sure, they tend to be kind of available for a bit after it's discontinued, and then we do a show about it, and then suddenly David has to complain. So if you're interested in a 135, if you don't have one, if you want to get a really nice one that has the case in the box before the supply dries up or the prices go up, now is a great opportunity. And again, just a general buyer's tip, the 135 Apo is one of the few lenses that came from the factory not 6-bit coded in the digital era. Overwhelmingly, the ones that were produced from the factory were not 6-bit coded. If you buy one somewhere else, wherever you go, either make sure it's 6-bit coded or make sure you're paying a price that reflects the $500 to $700 cost, if I'm just guessing, of a CLA and a 6-bit code. So just keep that in mind. Don't assume that it's 6-bit coded. Be sure you want to take a look at a photo of the lens mount. So that is the 135. So we lost 2 lenses this year, or in the last year. We missed them dearly, but there's always the used market.
And just to answer the next question that hasn't come in yet, or maybe it did because I'm not watching.
Yeah.
No, we don't know if there's a replacement for it.
A 136.
A 1
millimeter better.
136.
I think they're doing a 135 Noctilux. That's what I heard. It's a point. It's a .135. It's 135.135.
Oh no.
Yeah.
We're never gonna let this down.
Comes with the G-Wagon.
Okay. Yeah.
On there, yeah. That's right.
The lens is so expensive.
That's right.
It actually comes
with its own G-Wagon, yeah. Anyway, the last piece of exciting news.
So I just want to
okay.
focus on this.
Wait, we
okay,
don't
get distracted.
Okay, I am always distracted.
We already know there's a replacement for the 28. So logic says, oh, well, there must be something new. There's not always something new.
Right.
Because, like Josh said, when the 18 Super LMR, which one of my favorites, when the 24 LMR, when they were discontinued, there was no replacements. When the 24 Summilux was discontinued, there was no replacement. Currently, as far as we know, there's no replacement for the 135.
That's right. But there is a replacement for the M11 called the M12.
Oh, gosh.
So just remember.
What was in your water today? I don't even know.
It's an M show. M show is supposed to be fun.
One of the questions: how much coffee did Josh
How
have?
much coffee?
Not enough.
Not enough.
Not
obviously.
enough. Not enough.
Yeah. So basically, if you were interested in the 135, you should pick one up. If you have to ask me, well, why did they discontinue it? Well, probably because not enough people bought it. That's
Your fault.
generally how
Your
this
fault.
works. Leica is not going to continue making a product that nobody wants.
Yeah. Well, some
Well,
people
okay,
wanted it. Not
sometimes
enough
they do.
people wanted it.
Not enough people want it.
All right, last piece of news. Let me do questions.
Yeah, last piece of news is good news.
That's right.
And I'm gonna let Josh break this down.
Yes.
So
we
have a promotion.
Well, for a long time in the last 18 months, we had a hard time getting good stock of M stuff.
Yeah.
M bodies, M lenses. We finally, after, threats, blackmail, whatever, got Leica to send us some stock. So what we like to do every now and then is just to thank everybody for supporting us is, as you know, we have a pretty comprehensive trade-in program. You trade in your Leica gear to Leica Store Miami, you get 80% of the fair market value, whatever we expect to sell it for. You get 80% of that as a trading credit towards the new thing that you're buying. Well, what we're going to do between now and the end of March is if you trade a Leica camera or lens, or more than one, towards any Leica M camera or lens we have in stock new, in stock is the key here, you can get, instead of 80%, you can get 90% of fair market value. And the reality is, by the time you sell it yourself and pay all those fees, you're almost getting actual market value for your trade by trading with Leica Store Miami. So,
without the hassle of dealing with
yes, all the things. So if you're interested in any of the new M cameras, film or digital, that we have in stock, or any of the new M lenses, that includes lenses like the 35 Apo Summilux-M, which we have in stock, finally. The 35 FLE2, the 51.4 spheric version 2, 21 Super Elmar, like this little guy, one of our favorites. You love this lens.
love this lens.
28 Summilux, what I got in the SL3 right there. We have a lot of M lenses in stock, a lot of M cameras in stock. So if you're looking to grab one, you've been on the fence about trading in your old stuff, now you get an extra 10% until the end of March.
It's fantastic.
All you have to do is fill out our trading form. Just make sure that what you're trading for is in stock. You'll be eligible for the 90%. And again, that's only towards cameras and lenses. So if you trade in a VisaFlex or a case, you'll get the 80%. But the 90% is for cameras and lenses. Did we drop a link in the chat for that?
Jose?
Oh, we have to talk about that, don't we?
Yes, we do.
That's right.
That's why I brought it up.
On the topic of used, as you know, I am a giant nerd for used stuff. Old, new,
nobody
you
knows
name
that.
it, we love it.
Nobody knows that.
So in the interest of sharing my passion, one of the things I've been doing on the show, like I just did, is I highlight a particular item from our inventory. Unfortunately, we don't do shows once a week anymore because, we need to sleep.
Yes.
So instead, we have created a separate email newsletter that's independent of our main newsletter that you hopefully are signed up for, where every insert time interval here, we will feature used product highlights. We call it the pre-owned spotlight. So
And
each
there it
time
is.
we send out this email, not just myself, but any of my colleagues here will share a piece of used Leica equipment from our inventory that we find particularly interesting, insightful, has a good story behind it, or maybe something that we've used ourselves. Now, there's no real schedule to this email. It'll just kind of go out whenever we feel like it. The goal is once a week, but we'll see. But I'm excited about it because there's a lot of times where I want to pine on about something used, or one of my colleagues in the store, like Jose or Adam or Nkosi or Brandon, is going to want to talk about something that they're excited about. And we don't really have a format right now to do that other than the show. And we don't want to spam our newsletter because we have always so much other stuff to talk about. So if you're interested, even if you live outside the country, it doesn't matter. If you're interested in seeing some of the cool new arrivals to our used department, interesting items we want to highlight, whether that's collectible, vintage, or just something that we like to use, you can sign up for the Leica pre-owned spotlight. David will put a link in the chat if you didn't already.
Jose can put a link
Jose
in the
can
chat.
do it. You do it, Jose? You find it?
Yeah.
Awesome.
Perfect.
So we'd love it. It's totally free, obviously. And you can get that. If you have questions about stuff, you can respond to it. And I'm the one who's going to type out the response on my loud keyboard. So
And the keyboard is very loud. I can
loud.
attest to that.
I think we've covered all the news. I think we should
so.
do
Back to questions.
We do some questions. And I have been talking too much, so it's your turn now.
Let's go. Questions.
All right. Let's see what we got.
The chat.
Can we answer JPM's question? I do want to get to that one. Did you see that one about the market for
I didn't.
Earlier.
Which one?
You have to scroll up.
I think this is a funny comment.
Oh, go ahead.
As a dentist, I don't recommend this brush.
So basically what you're saying is 9 out of 10 dentists do, and you're the one that doesn't. You're that one. Okay, now we know. As a dentist, don't check my credentials. I do recommend. Who said that? Where is that comment? Do I know them? That's funny. I love it. That's great.
Oh, it was from... where is it? No, I don't know.
I don't know. Okay, that's too bad. Well, that's great. Yes, you can listen to your actual dentist. Don't listen to your fake dentist / like a salesman. But JPM asked a question about the state of the market for vintage lenses and if values are dropping. Obviously, the market overall for collectibles, luxury goods, rare things peaked 2021, 2022, and has been settling back to earth since then. You know, if you're a watch guy like we all are in this room, shout out Jose, who he won't bring this up himself, but he got an awesome new watch from our best buddy Eric Wynn. Show him. From the same era as the M System, and it's out of focus. 1950s. It's beautiful, beautiful watch. So congratulations, Jose. And thanks to Eric Wynn of Wynn Vintage as always for having the coolest stuff. We love them. Congratulations, Jose. He's got good taste.
He's got good taste.
Anyway, so what has happened that I have noticed is the top of the market, meaning the best of the best, has stayed pretty stable. The middle of the market has shifted a little bit, but the bottom of the market has definitely calmed down. The thing about vintage lenses is there is a staggering disparity between the best example and the worst example because they're not making them anymore. That's the very definition of a vintage lens, which means if it isn't great already, they're not going to make a better one in the sense of condition, especially optics. So for me, when I'm looking at vintage glass, optics are my number one priority. I mean, a little bit of dust, a couple cleaning marks is fine. I'm talking about major haze that can't be fixed or major scratches, major cleaning marks. And even then, the lenses have some value, but not nearly as much as your top market stuff. So as you're navigating, there are deals to be had. Certain lenses sell for, I think, sort of suppressed values compared to what they're actually worth. I'm not going to say what those are because then, I give away all my secrets, but I do think that it is becoming harder to find really good examples because a lot of them were snatched up when things were going crazy, especially steel rims, preaspheric version 3 and version 250 Summilux-s, even the version 1s are getting hard to find. 75 Summilux-s, especially the German ones. Ironically, some of the lenses that were hard to get, we're seeing more of, like King of Bokeh, 35 Summicrons. Sure. We're seeing more of those, which is great. Version 450 Summicrons, we're seeing more of those. It depends. I mean, there's always going to be your cream of the crop.
But it also
kind of, yeah, exactly. So
the market changes.
What I would tell you is when you're buying a lens that's vintage, glass is always king. Obviously, we're talking outside of just pure collecting. We're talking about usability. Over time, as you look at more lenses, you start to develop an eye for what to look for in terms of the things that could happen. So, yeah, that's the answer to that question.
I saw a question in here about someone was asking if the M6 reissue from 2022 is the most popular analog camera right now for Leica versus the MA or the MP.
No, Black Paint MP is still king. Yeah. M6 is a close second, I think, definitely. But Black Paint MP is, I think, the penultimate. It's the daddy.
This finish.
It's gorgeous. Yeah. But I think whoever asked the question about cleaning brought up a phenomenal point, which is someone would say, why would you get an M6 when you can get a Black Paint MP? It's because Black Paint MP is a comparatively delicate finish. Yeah. Both in terms of showing fingerprints and scratches and brassing. Sure. Whereas the M6 has like this new black paint, matte black paint, which is super durable, for sure.
And aluminum.
No, it's brass.
And brass.
The M11 is aluminum.
No, the M6.
M6 is brass.
I'm out. That's it. I'm done. I'm done.
It's been a long day. You worked really hard at whatever you were doing earlier.
I'm done. I'm done.
What else we got?
Jose?
Okay. Which 50mm M lens has the prettiest lens flares?
What's the prettiest color? I can't answer that.
Prettiest lens flares.
I mean, that's a very subjective question. I mean, my answer is the lens that I use all the time, which is 50 Summilux prehistoric version 2 or version 3. Just don't use the hood. I have a version 3, and I just purposely find ways to get the sun in there. Yeah. I have a shot on my phone. I don't know how I get it to you, but
I love the controlled flare of the 35 Summilux modern. Yeah. Because it retains actual sharpness and contrast of those elements, but has this really beautiful cinematic kind of glow if you catch the sun at the angle. I could say probably my least favorite is the 35 Summicron aspheric. Just is like, definitely use the shade on that one.
Good question though. Next.
That's an esoteric question.
We love it.
All right. Are there any complications from Leica's perspective if I send a lens for servicing which has undergone customization?
Well, it depends, because if you're talking about customizing the mechanics or the optics, they're probably not even going to touch it.
Yeah.
If you're talking about just having it painted or adding a focus tab to it, I don't think that's an issue. I mean, to be honest, it's extremely rare for me to come across customized lenses. Certainly we see special editions, which generally have to get repaired in Wetzlar.
Well, I'll give you a hypothetical.
Yes.
So let's say someone was using it for cine applications, and they took the aperture click stops out.
Yeah, I don't actually know.
That actually is a not.
That's a very good question.
That's not uncommon.
I can't answer that, to be honest with you, because I've never sent a lens in
Like,
that.
would they put the click stops back?
I'm sure if you asked them not to, they probably wouldn't. I think a lot of it depends on if they could determine that the modification impacted the lens in a different way that was causing an issue that you were having. Like,
Right.
If somebody opened it up and messed with the glass, and now you're saying, "Oh, it's not sharp," they're probably going to say you're on your own.
Right.
But I don't know. I really can't speak with authority from that. I'm sure like a customer care treats it case by case, so I wouldn't want to make a blanket statement on that.
Okay. Best method to avoid highlight blowout on the M10 -1 EV?
That's going to depend. Right. So
You almost said it depends.
it does depend.
Okay.
On the M11, because we switched to metering off the sensor versus metering off the reflected shutter. So the M10 has a reflected shutter curtain metering. The M11 has electronic metering off the sensor. The M11 tends to be more accurate on metering because you're actually seeing metering off the real live view image. And highlight weighted metering is awesome. That's what I always recommend. But we're talking about an M10. And having shot a decent amount of M10, didn't end up with a lot of blown highlights because generally speaking, if you're using the VisiFlex, you can turn the highlight warning on at, say, like 253 is the default setting. So if you see the little flashing lights, turn down the exposure compensation and take another shot. If you are using the rangefinder, it's a little trickier because you're using an optical rangefinder. There is no highlight warning. So probably yes, especially in contrasty light where you have bright sun, deep shadows. I would definitely err on the side of, let's say, -1 to 1.5-ish. If you're really, really worried about blowing out those highlights, because, and I actually demonstrated this in my M10 review back in 2017, the shadow recovery in the M10 is fantastic. I mean, at base ISO, 4 stops of shadow recovery at base ISO, which means if you are shooting in a really high contrast, bright sunny situation with deep shadows, you are going to be shooting at base ISO, which means you have the maximum latitude of shadow recovery. So don't be afraid of going -1, -2, and you're going to look at your pictures on the back of the camera, they're going to look really dark, except for a few spots, but you're going to be able to take all those shadows up and protect your highlights, and I would always err on that side. If you are indoors or you're under shady conditions where you don't have the high contrast situation, maybe just half a stop under exposure is going to do the trick. So you're going to have to play that by ear. That's why it does depend, because the camera is better at metering a flat surface, a flat lighting scenario, rather than having a really bright light. And it'll be worse because you have center weighted metering. If that bright light falls outside of the 60% center zone, the other workaround is just make sure to half press on the brightest part of your image and then recompose. That also can help give you the correct exposure for your highlights. So those are all just kind of techniques for you to practice.
Good info right there. Thank you, David.
The easiest way is use an EVF.
There you go. Next.
Okay. What film, excuse me, what film M camera and lens combination would you recommend for double exposure photography?
That's a Michael Turk question.
Yeah, I mean, I know people that like the M4 quite a bit, but I have never tried double exposure photography, so I actually can't answer that.
Michael Turk does this a lot.
Ask Michael Turk.
Yeah.
Go to Mongolia just to ask him that question.
He doesn't do double exposure so much as
blended exposures.
He does blended exposures, which is basically running the roll through one time and mask. Actually, I'm just going to borrow this.
Careful with that.
I'm going to borrow this.
Yeah,
lens
that
here.
one's probably better.
Okay. So he would take a lens like a lens shade like this, and there's only certain lenses that actually work with this because of the view, but he would use a 50 and take like tape and cover half the frame and shoot a whole roll this way. And he actually, as he's loading it, what's really clever is using a Sharpie with the back open and actually showing a full frame in the gate, like silver Sharpie. So then when he reloads the film the second time, he can actually line that up so you get the blend in the right spot. And then rotating the lens shade around so that now it's masked on the other side, and then shooting the whole roll back the other way, whether in the same location, or what's really cool is he'll shoot, let's say, something in Namibia, in Africa, and then shoot the rest in Alaska. And they're so completely different, but the end result is really, really cool. And I've seen him do this effectively on everything from an M3 all the way through a modern MP. So there's no particular camera. As far as lenses, I think 50 or 35 are kind of the only options, only because of the physics of it.
Okay.
But Michael would be a great resource for that, and I'd highly recommend checking out his work.
Very cool. He's awesome.
His website.
Next question.
All right. Base ISO for M10, is it 100 or 200?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think it's 200, but I haven't.
It's 200.
Yeah, I think it's 200. Yeah, I haven't had to think about that in a long time. It just took me a second there.
Okay. Couple of questions about the new iPhone grip.
Different episode to cover. This is an M episode, so we'll cover that
We
later.
just haven't received them. Anyway.
We also haven't seen it yet, so no.
Really no
But then we're
idea.
just talking about M stuff today. This is an M episode.
We do have a hand grip for the M. Here you go. Hand grip.
Don't even put that down. Put that down.
And I guess you could attach it to your phone, right?
Next question.
Yeah. I mean, I pretty much have.
Did we get everybody? Come on, you guys have so many questions.
Related to M that we can answer?
Oh, fair enough. Yeah. Okay.
It's a lot of future M.
Oh,
questions.
okay. Well, Josh will answer all those.
Yeah. Well, I hate to remind you all, but we already answered that question
Yeah, then. Yeah.
with the M12.
Okay, got a couple more here.
Okay.
Does an M lens on an M11 perform better than the same lens mounted on an SL3? For example, a 21 Super Elmar M.
The only time that I've noticed that is with the 21 Summilux. It's the only time I've noticed that.
And I'd say Colin uses the 21 Summilux a lot on the SL system.
Yeah,
for
well, he's using it
photography.
because that's the best for what he's doing. But
yeah.
honestly, no. That's a really good question, and I've tried this with a lot of lenses, and it's the differences are more likely to be me screwing up the focus, like if I'm shooting wide open, than anything else.
I mean, to quote Leica, and maybe this is old information because this was back in the SL601 and the M10 era, but an unnamed product manager at Leica said an SL was the second best camera to use an M lens on.
Yeah, there you go.
Because it is purpose-built, the M is purpose-built to use an M lens. In practical terms, I agree with Josh. I've used M lenses. I've even used my 18 Super Elmar on the original SL, on the SL2 and the SL3, because when I want a nice compact kit, I'll take a 24-90 and a little 18. And I can't really tell a difference of, wow, it didn't perform as well as it does on the M.
The reality is that if you really need maximum wide-angle lens performance, get an SL 21 Apo or a 1635 or 1424. We have an episode about the super wides on the SL, and we compare it to some of the M glass in that sort of range, and we show a lot of examples. So I would watch that episode if you're genuinely interested in wide-angle lens performance on the SL. Next question.
Okay. Are monochrome sensor landscape pictures flatter or more difficult to work with, as you cannot boost individual color channels to bring out contrast?
The simple answer is yes. They are flatter, and yes, they are very prone to blowing highlights, and there is no getting them back because there is no extra information in other channels. So if you have a blown out blue sky, but maybe you have a little bit in the red channel or the green channel, you can bring something back. So for instance, I'll use the M11 as an example since we were talking about that. The M11 actually has the most highlight recovery of any digital camera that I've used, certainly in the Leica lineup. You have actually a little bit more than a stop of highlight recovery on the M11, which is unheard of for digital. But the M11 Monochrome has no highlight recovery at all, but it's really great in the shadows. So you would want to, especially for landscape applications where you have high dynamic range, you have a few choices. One, underexpose it because you're shooting at base ISO on a camera that has ridiculous recovery, 4 or 5 stops. Yes, it's flatter. And there, you want to do it the way we used to do it with film. You want to use color filters. If you want to increase the separation of the tonality in that landscape scene, whatever that color palette is, whether you're using a green filter or an orange filter or a red filter, that is going to provide immediate separation and drama for your landscape images, right? Just like old Ansel did it. The last thing is, for free, try the M11 Monochrome preset that I have for Lightroom, because I take away a lot of that flatness. I don't like flat digital images. I like having more dynamic pop like I'd have on film analog. So if that is a concern of yours, step 1, expose right. Step 2, if you do have a scene of, say, fall colors that all is coming out gray, try a filter because that will automatically separate those tones. Step 3, try out my Lightroom preset for monochrome, and I have for M10 monochrome, I have it for M11 monochrome, I have it for the original M9 monochrome. Try it out and see if it works for you. And if not, you get your money back.
That's
on the preset.
All right, we got time for a couple more questions, Jose. So what do we got for me?
Okay. Does it take a while for the Leica Photos app to have the latest firmware? Can't see the option to update my M11-D.
You probably have to update the Photos app.
Yeah. Also, I don't really use the app that much for firmware. I just download it from my duct form, so you don't have to worry about it in that case.
Yeah. Somebody else asked about the M11 firmware update on the app.
Yeah, I just don't use the app for firmware enough to be able to say like how frequently it is. But again,
we're old school.
We do it on SD card.
All right. Send in my M6 Class again for a CLA. Should I get the MP viewfinder upgrade?
Absolutely. There's no downside except that it costs money and time. But in the long term, you'll be glad you did it.
And it'll increase the value of your camera.
Unless it's a special edition, then don't. But try to keep it original. But if it's a regular M6 Classic, yeah. I mean, it's a better finder. It doesn't look any different on the outside. You're going to have less flare issues and just higher contrast. So, yeah.
Okay. Maybe we can answer this one quickly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Does the circle of rendering produced by an M lens change size when mounted on an SL with adapter? Meaning, does the rear element sit farther away?
Nope. In fact, what the adapter is doing, it's hard to see, I suppose. But if you get a top-down view for me.
There we go.
Okay. This is the M adapter L. Yes?
Yep.
If we mounted the lens, if the lens could be mounted directly to the body, which it cannot, it actually would be the incorrect flange distance for the lens to the sensor. This spacer is required because I have a lot of things going on here.
It's all right. You wanted to make that zoom in more. See, I'm glad you did.
Right. So it doesn't look like it from here, but you can see maybe right there.
There it is.
That little sort of crosshair looking thing, that's actually the focal plane. The sensor is right there. There's a lot of space behind the sensor. All of the cooling plate, the electronics, the readout, all that sits behind here. On an M camera, I don't think we've actually marked it, but it sits a little bit further back.
Yeah, it's right here.
No.
Oh, that's the shutter speed.
Exactly,
Sorry,
yeah. Don't be confused by this and this. So it sits about here. On the SL, it sits here. So we actually need this spacing ring for the flange distance to be correct, which means, you can go back, which means this does not affect infinity focus. You still get perfect infinity focus with M lenses on an SL, and it does not affect the exposure. It's not like an extension tube where you're losing half a stop or a stop with an extension tube. So it is exactly what it says it is on the package.
The one thing to keep in mind is the early 21 Super Angulons and 20 version ones that have extremely deep protruding rear elements will not work on the M adapter. They don't even mount properly. So there are a small selection of vintage lenses that only work on an M and don't work on the SL with the adapter, but it's a very, very small number, so don't need to sleep over it. All right, let's do like 2 to 3 more questions.
Do you ever use the frame line selector lever on your M cameras?
Yeah.
And if so, when?
He loves it.
Yes, why wouldn't you? Because it helps you preview your frame lines. What's so fantastic about an M viewfinder is that you're seeing outside of your frame, but it also means that you can preview what a different lens would cover without having to actually change the lens. That's one of the advantages of M. So yes, it's very, very handy. It's right here. And you've got 3 frame line sets. Either we got 28-90, 50-75, and 35-135, which is going to be super awkward when there's no 135.
Whoopsie.
Ooh.
Next.
Quick one here. I think we already said yes to this. We will do a show talking about the latest 50.
Yeah, well, we'll do a show on the Classic Series line, and we'll cover all 5. So that'll happen.
Yeah.
But
sometime.
it's going to require a lot of legwork on Josh's part to get the original
Well, if you own
lenses.
an original Sumeron, an original fan bar, an original 1.2 Noctilux,
To send Josh.
original 50 Lux, an original steel rim, let me know, and I'll shout you out. Maybe I'll give you a keychain, because I'm going to need to gather those for. We don't have that show scheduled yet, but it'll be sometime in the next couple of months for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just, again, an extreme amount of gathering.
But we want to do it right. So
Yeah.
What else?
Yeah, they keep coming in. I don't know.
That's fine. I mean, honestly, I'm okay. We can end a little late. If people want to leave, they can leave, but
see,
we should keep going, I think.
No one's leaving.
Do rear glass lens elements extending to a film plane better than those further away? I'm not sure if
I mean, that's just I guess that's a design philosophy of what we call retrofocus lens elements versus non-retrofocus.
Don't get into the 1001.
It's just, the answer is probably not. They're just different lens designs.
Yeah.
And back in the back days, like the 21 Super Angulon, that was a highly retrofocused lens design. That was the only option. I mean, even still on a modern 21, it does protrude a fair amount, but nowhere near like the old lenses do. So, there. Yeah, it does protrude a fair amount. You can see that protrudes. And if you give me this one.
You're just taking everything from me, aren't you? I can do it.
Just give me that.
I'm here for you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, so this is a 35. I mean, it actually doesn't protrude that much further than the 35.
Well, are they focused the same distance? Probably not.
Oh yeah. Well, infinity versus infinity. Let's see.
There you go.
You know,
Protrudes further, but not a lot.
not much.
Yeah,
Not much. So, and certainly 35 is not considered a super wide. This is definitely a question for Peter Carver when you come to an LSI meeting.
That's right. Next question, please. Let's do a couple more because we're getting them. We're gonna answer them.
Okay. A lot of future questions.
Nope, no features.
Okay, do you recommend using an original lights underwater housing on my M11 while making a dive in Jamaica?
Yes. When it leaks, don't blame us. Next question.
Don't give advice like that. First of all, I have no idea what that lights housing is. Second of all, I'm going to give 2 pieces of advice. One, rubber seals, O-rings don't last forever either. And you really don't want that leaking at depth.
Bad news.
Second thing is, if you're in the United States or in this area, there is like the guru of underwater housings is this guy, Ryan.
Are they still around?
Yeah,
Okay.
he is still around. Ryan at Reef Photo, REEF Photo. They're actually in the greater Miami area. Reach out to Ryan and listen to everything he says.
There we go. Next question.
Okay. They Leica manufacture any 135mm lenses with digital contacts.
Yeah, I mentioned that. Just the tail end of production, that's all.
Yeah.
I forget the exact year. I probably on Red Dot Forum or somewhere, but there are some, and you'll know if the box says 6-bit coding on it or not. Yeah.
But I feel like when a lot of the other lenses in 2006 went to 6-bit coding, the 135
Well, that's what I said.
did
Yeah, the
not.
135 was the last one to come from the factory.
I think they
6-bit
waited
coding,
about 10 years.
a
to
very
actually-
long time, yeah.
Yeah.
Will you be in Charleston in April?
Yes. We don't have the exact timing of our programming yet, but we are going to do something at the LSI Spring Shoot in Charleston for sure.
Both of us.
Yes, we'll both be there.
Amazing.
I'm so excited.
Okay, I think that's...
All right.
Is that actually it?
Yeah. Why don't you sign us off? I think we're way past our, well, not way past, but we're past our deadline.
Not way past.
But before I forget,
Are any left?
I have no idea. My phone has been
few left.
exploding with orders, but if you want a Blackpink keychain,
There are a few left.
by tomorrow, they're not going to be available. So if you want a Blackpink keychain, either be really, really, really nice to me or go on our website and buy one. This one's mine. You can't have it. This one's 000. How sweet is that?
Oh yeah. Well, my T-shirt is
60.
60.
Yeah, well, you're too
so
cool for
beat
me.
that.
All right, sign us off, Dave. Will you please?
Beat that. All right. Did we get everything? I think we got
I
everything.
think we did, yeah.
Okay, we talked
And
about
if not, you can find us at Leica Store Miami, so it's not like we don't exist.
We
or
do.
do we?
Or do we? All right. Well, thank you for tuning in. A little catch up on our M stuff. Hopefully you guys had some fun tonight and learned some interesting information. Thanks to Josh for his usual enthusiasm and encyclopedic knowledge.
And to the person who bought the raw sex set, I'm gonna get another one, and we're gonna play some ping pong with them. So,
Oh, wait, those are ping pong handle things, right?
have you been watching the show?
No, no.
Yes, we're gonna be the most expensive game of ping pong on the planet.
Amazing.
I love it.
Amazing.
Anyway, sorry, carry on.
Okay. Thank you. Again, thanks to Jose. Thanks to Josh. Sorry, Jose's over there. Josh is over there.
I am.
Thanks to you guys for tuning in on your Saturday night. We know that you can be lots of places other than here, but you're here with us having a great time. If you are not subscribed to Red Dot Forum, please do, because we want to get to whatever the next bigger number after 30,000 is.
1 million.
40,000. We want to get to there. So click the subscribe button, click the notification bell so you know when we post new content. Be sure to throw a thumbs up on this video if you liked it. Drop a comment. We actually do read those and generally do answer them if you put them in a relatively,
Yep.
usable format.
Yep.
If you want to support the channel, another great way to do that is to do your Leica shopping at Leica Store Miami, because that's us.
right.
So you want to keep us in YouTube business. We don't make anything on YouTube, but our day job is selling these wonderful cameras.
That's right.
Through Leica Store Miami.
That's right.
So you can support us that way. We absolutely appreciate it. And Josh will maybe even write you a little poem or something.
No, I
never
think my poetry days are gone. You guys missed out. That was a great era, but
no.
sadly, no.
All right. Well, we'll be back in...
I think the 15th of March, I want to say.
something.
I'm pretty sure it's the 15th of March.
We'll give them the real date this time.
I'm going to tell you
instead
real
of
quick.
just later.
Let's see. It is the 15th of March. I was
Okay.
right. Yeah.
So the Ides of March.
That's right.
Beware the Ides of March, because
my
Red Dot
goodness.
Forum Camera Talk will be back.
That's right.
If anyone actually gets that reference, congratulations, you paid attention in English class.
Oh, my goodness.
All right. So that's about it.
We did it.
And be sure to check out Red Dot Forum for the latest Leica news and reviews, firmware articles, free,
All the good stuff.
free
All the good
Lightroom
stuff.
presets, etc. And we will see you
March 15th.
March 15th.
See you there.
See you there.
night,
Thanks.
guys.
Have a great rest of the weekend. And enjoy that wonderful winter weather. See ya.
Good night, everyone.
Bye.